Hello. I blew it. You blew it. Hello. Hello. Where's my mouse? My mouse is down here. Okay, we're all good. Cool. Okay, so it's time to do more lore stuff.
You blew it.
All right. Okay, people. All right. Fucking fuck. Hello, Durgan Teamworm. I hope you both are doing well. And then also NBK Tech World. Thanks for following, dude.
Oh yeah.
You actually have blew it. But blue BLUE. Oh, speaking of blue, it's warm in here. I'm taking my jacket off. Also, why did I stop the music? It's a lore day. We need music. You have no prepared status effect table. Oh, Dirk, that's okay. You should just be hanging out. There's no expectations from you. Just come hang out. Keep me company. Work on your own thing. Do whatever. You know? It's fine. We're fine. We're fine. Somebody on YouTube, somebody left a YouTube comment on my last video from a week ago that we should, they asked if I had ever looked at cassette beasts, how their element system works. And I had heard things about it and then kind of forgot to consider it while we were doing our magic system. So, you know, maybe we'll update or change some things. Or just get some inspiration from Cassette Beast's type chart situation. Only your internal expectations. Exactly. Well, just, you know, be nicer to yourself. It's okay. It's all right. Everything's fine. Okay, so how does Cassette Beasts work? 14 elemental types. That is fewer than Pokemon. Important to have a basic understanding about how they interact. Okay. Be difficult to keep track of every interaction. Sure. Okay. This looks a lot like a Pokemon chart. And I thought I remember when Cassette Beasts came out, the devs saying that they don't just do like damage bonuses from one element hitting another. They do like, they have like a chemistry system, like things interact. This just looks like a type chart though. Okay, cool. We have some actual information, but it's, I see. Is there a scroll bar down here? Okay, great, cool. Actually that's really lame. So if we want to scroll over, we're going to have to like come down here. Unless, ooh, okay, nice. I can just click in with the middle mouse button. Okay. So if air hits air, you get an AP boost. Is that just attack power? It could be attack power. It could be action points. Let me see if the article actually explains what those are. Okay, elements on the top are the defending monster's type, sure. Elements on the left indicate the move type they're being attacked with, sure. Using a fire type move on an air type monster will give the defending creature a buff. Okay, so buffs were green up there. While using an air type move... Greg's losing her mind. While using an air-type move on a fire-type monster will give the defending creature a debuff, which is red. Okay. Notably, a move that creates a debuff does not deal increased damage, and a move that creates a buff does not deal decreased damage. Okay. Okay. Final thing to mention is that simply knowing whether an attack will generate a buff or debuff is often enough to overcome a foe. Okay. Okay, so you don't need to like really know a whole lot about the system. You just need to know what's good against what, and that's good enough for you to win most of the time. Okay, so this is air on fire. Will create a melee attack down debuff and a ranged attack down debuff. Why would that be? I don't get the flavor behind that. Ooh, air hitting lightning gives lightning a multi-target buff. Interesting. Okay, now I don't know if that means, does that mean when lightning does its next attack, it's going to like spread to multiple targets? That's fucking cool. That's a cool idea. Oh, you're right. I could select this and put it into Miro. That's a good point, Dirk. We'll be okay like this. Interesting. Glass is a type. I think also plastic. Yeah, plastic is a type. What a weird system. Astral's a cool type. Everything else is pretty typical. I like plant over grass for sure. For sure. Interesting. A glitter type. We have a plastic type. Like, it's not like directly. I feel like corrosion is a... I feel like we're representing the elements in like a different way. Plastic is a kind of weird. I don't think corrosion and plastic are the same. They might share some similarities, but corrosion seems more focused on the action of what's happening. Plastic seems more focused on the physical structure of the thing. So similar, but not the same. Oh, and then, so glitter sounds crazy. It gives you some transmutation thing. All right, I need a more, a better explanation of this. Chemistry, cassettebeasts.com. All right, there we go. There we fucking go. I love this game's art style. And I've heard from 2 different people it was made in Godot. I don't know that, though. I have not confirmed. Oh my god. Is that that's a like a hermit crab with a fucking traffic cone as a shell? Sweet. Okay, cassette beasts. Every monster is 1 elemental type. Every attack is 1 elemental type. 14 types. Plastic and glass types are as you'd expect. They're made possible by the chemistry system. Astral is our paranormal space cosmic type. And as for glitter, read on. Yeah, what the hell is glitter? Tell me what glitter is. If you read this chart, I know how to read the chart. Okay, transmutation changes its type. Different chemistry will apply the next time they're hit. Example, using a fire type move on a plastic type monster melts the monster, transmuting it into poison type. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, you would think that that would completely change how the monster functioned in the world. It probably won't. It's probably just for status effects, but that's a fun idea. Neat, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Now, I want to know about all the other ones. Interesting. Also, so that was specifically fire hitting plastic. Okay. But the glitter one is just, it's like all transmutations. Changing one tag might change a lot. Yeah, that's a good point. It just seems weird to like if you're a plastic type monster and you have like plastic type attacks and then you get melted into a poison type, it sounds like you should get access to poison attacks. You probably don't, but maybe you do. That'd be fucking cool. Okay. If you're used to Pokemon and expect to understand the entirety of the system from the beginning of the game, it might seem daunting to have to learn every individual status effect that can be produced. That's because in Pokemon, in order to battle competently, you do have to master the type effectiveness system. I learned it entirely. That's not true. I have beaten so many fucking Pokemon games, and I'm still like, what is Steel good against? I probably know like 40% of a chart. I don't think that counts as mastery, but I get what they're trying to say. I think they're making it sound they're making Pokemon sound like a hard game. In Cassette Beast, competence and mastery are 2 separate steps. Okay, this sounds like a cool idea. In Cassette Beasts, you can competently use the chemistry system by just knowing where the green, red, and yellow cells are on the type chart. However, there's always a tactical advantage to be gained by mastering it, learning each individual effect. This might only come to you much later in your experience with the game. So maybe with our system, we could break that down that way. And have a nice like reference for the player in the game that will fill in as they play the game automatically. To just have a very like at a glance a very like top level, this good, this bad, this thing against that thing good, this thing against that thing bad kind of a situation. And then somewhere else, each thing is explained better. Of course, the game helps you find your way around this by previewing the effects of your attack. Oh. I don't know where I stand with something like that. Like it was always fun in Pokemon to have to know the types. And newer Pokemon games just like fucking tell you, like, yeah, use your electric attack. It's gonna be super effective. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that. I like at least having the extra step of having to like inspect an enemy, see what type it is, and then figure that out yourself. Maybe there's a nice middle ground. It's player skill versus character skill dilemma. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. It's really hard to fuse the two because if somebody replays the game, then like their player skill is incredibly high compared to their character skill, who's supposed to be completely new to the world and not understand a whole lot. Yeah, that's hard. I think maybe for the sake of having like an in-game resources you look at, those should be like character knowledge based. So like you as the player could know that water is good against fire, but until you actually do that attack, until you actually do a water on fire attack, the character in the game won't be willing to note down like, oh yeah, actually that water is good against fire. But then the moment you do it, they'll update the chart. So then whenever you look at the chart in the future, you will see that. And maybe I'm just specifically designing a game for me, but I like that because then like I never need to look up that water is good against fire. But like, boy, when I'm about to use a steel attack on like a fairy type, like is that good? Something tells me it's either good or bad. I can't remember. You can never play the game you already played the first time again. Oh, philosophical. True, like technically true in a way. In a way. I get what you're saying. But even though it's not the same game, we still want it to be enjoyable if possible, right? A second playthrough being fun should be the goal. Typeless moves. They have typeless moves. Interesting. Ooh, and then fusion creatures have 2 types. That makes sense. And certain common moves are typeless. Yeah, typeless is an interesting choice of words. I feel like it's one word. Choice of word. It's really hard to come up with a good term that's just like, it's not an element. You're just like smacking somebody. You're just tackling them. It's not a magical fire tackle. It's not a water attack. You're just smacking somebody with your body. Is it kinetic? Is it physical? Is it normal? Apparently for them, it's typeless. Think we might move physical moves as typeless. I hate every different word that can describe it. None of them are right. They're just not fucking good enough. It's like I need to come up with some fucking special language of my own for it to make sense. So I can make a word that's good. Interesting. So they have a basic melee attack that's called Smack. And Spit, the basic ranged attack. That's your basic ranged attack. They're just spitting all over each other. Conlang. Shit. That's a something language, right? Like a fake language. A constructed language. Sure. There we go. Actually not a bad idea. It's always a cool idea. But, like, it's always a lot of work. And I do kind of want to have some, like, I want this game to have a bunch of extra stuff in it, like extra puzzles you can solve that just, like, give you rewards that are not essential, but, like, I don't know, like a cool new outfit for a character or something like that. And involving, like, translating or deciphering languages in that would be very fun. And so if somebody's just playing through the game and they don't care, they'll just read a message in another language and be like, yeah, that's cool looking. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to move on past these weird ruins. Maybe I'll catch a cool symbiote in these ruins, and then I'll pick up an item here that I need to pick up for the main story, and then I'm gone. Or somebody can be like, well, this is a weird thing. Can I figure out what these words mean? And then maybe there's like a side quest or something that is like, yes, you can. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. People will still, in the end, call car attacks fire attack if it's actually fire. Yeah. I think the only time I would really commit to, like, a constructed language and actually changing, like, the UI to say things like that, it would have to be really important. People are going to be annoyed if instead of your attack saying that it's a fire attack, it says it's a car attack. and then you do that for every element, and every element has some weird fucking name to it. Although then we could have a nice term for our typeless element attacks. It'd be really nice. Okay, we're finally at glitter type. Think about what happens to things you touch for weeks after you get hit with a glitter bomb. Yes, that's right. They get covered in glitter too. Okay, this is a really interesting idea. That's how it works in Cassette Beasts. Anything you hit with a glitter type attack becomes glitter type itself. Oh, okay. The column of yellow where glitter is defending does the opposite. Glitter type monsters change to whatever the type of the attack they received was. Okay, I don't think thematically that follows, but that's very cool. That's very fun. That's a fun thing. Interesting. Kind of have the opposite with force. Well, force will affect things. Force is going to be a type that affects other status ailments, but like, this is actually changing the creature's type. That is a really interesting idea. I don't think I want to do that, but that's cool. This makes me want to play Cassette Beasts. Is there? Hold on. Does Cassette Beasts have good endgame? I don't want to know the definition of post-game, Google. There's a bit of post-game. I don't believe the post-game is very lengthy. Okay. All right. There are no natural glitter-type monsters. There's only one glitter-type attack. Glitter bomb. That seems needlessly narrow. This is a move you might use when the chemistry system puts you at a severe disadvantage against your opponent, or if you just like making a stickily, sparkly mess and irritating everybody. Oh my god. Okay, that's pretty cool. Glass actually is another fun type. But we'll go over that another time. No, do it now. Fuck. I'm here to learn about fun types. Fuck. Chemistry versus damage multipliers. Okay. This is probably going to cover stuff that I had already heard about. I mentioned delaying mastery as one advantage of this chemistry system, but there are actually several reasons we've decided to try this out. It helps give certain types and monsters strong personality. Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm thinking about. Glass, glitter, and plastic all have really strong personalities thanks to the many mechanical narratives that can be told with chemistry effects. It encourages synergistic strategies with your partner. With the right choice of types, monsters, and moves, you gain access to a huge set of status effects to inflict, even though you might only have a few moves between you. Same thing. I am definitely considering a system that will do that. Finally, a lot of decisions we're making for the battle system come down to whether it helps us balance the battle system in the context of an open world game. Frequently, we're finding that part of the answer is shifting slightly away from purely vertical, i.e. numerical progression, and towards systems, mastery, and horizontal systems of progression. Anyway, I hope that all makes sense. Sounds interesting to you. Let us know what you think in the comments. Tell me about glass. Fuck. Oh, they only have one comment. Dang. Dang. Okay. I think they talked about glass somewhere. Hey, Silent Boy. You wish you knew how to make a game. Me too. Me too. I'm just trying. You just gotta like try to do it. And like maybe if you put in enough time, probably anyone can succeed at it. All right. We have an official wiki. No, that's not what I want. Maybe somebody talking about glass type? I accidentally killed an astral bootleg bulletino. Oh my god. Okay, nope. That's just like a fucking glass and glitter. Biggest gripe is the lack of glitter and glass mons outside of bootlegs. Oh my god, bootleg is a very cute term to use in their world. Yeah, if you want to make a game, Dirk will be your cheerleader / support. He's a good like source of ideas and a good person to bounce ideas off of. Dang it, I just want to know about the glass type. Not glass cannon. Okay. This wiki is actually some sentences about... No, it's not. It's a type in Cassette Beast. That's the whole thing. I read that and was like, ooh. You already have a sort of basic idea of what you want to try to make. Yeah, same here. If you can commit to it, like then it's just a matter of time until you succeed. Is how I feel about it. Oh my god, I just like what is the glass type? The glass type applies to monsters whose bodies are at least partially made of glass. Fuck you, wiki. God damn it. Let's try asking Google a question. What is glass type? Thanks. Yeah. All right. Cassette Beasts types explained? Do we dare open a YouTube video? You want to make a 3D maybe collectathon. That can be fun. If the idea is cute, you like, or interesting in some way. I fucking love a collectathon game. Right, Dirk, you're trying to make a... well, you said at one point it was a dating sim spirit summoning game, which sounds hilariously bizarre. Or a game maybe like Breath of the Wild. Oh my god, that seems so hard. It's such a big fucking thing.
All right, guys, so with...
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Let's pause the music. Are you a little loud?
Out, I figured it was as good a time as any to go
Little
into
loud.
the game's type chart system. And
All
we
right.
did do something like this a few years back where I explained which types gave each other buffs and debuffs and stuff like that, but we did not previously have the exact interactions that would take place as a result of these type matchups. Now, if you're confused, Cassette Beast is a bit of a different game. Instead of fire doing less damage to water or more damage to plant, in Cassette Beasts, if a type is advantageous to another type, it'll actually give that type a debuff, and the opposite is true in that the enemy will get a buff if they're the advantageous type.
Okay, but can you just tell me about glass? Damn. Okay. Well, shit. All right. I guess we're not going to learn about glass. I do want to go back to that IGN chart thing. I think it was IGN. Shit. Type chart. Is that what I typed in? Now Cassette Beasts does come up first. Oh well, we can just look at their thing. Okay, so cool. This is actually a nicer way to look at this. All right, so what happens if glass attacks electric? The electric type becomes insulated. Cool. And then it gets unitarget times 3. I really wish that shit was explained. Well, I guess we could read it here. It's a debuff. Attacks from characters with unitarget that normally target a whole team only affect a single target. Damn. Damn. The main character for your game would be a small wolf girl named Star who doesn't speak any English, instead barking like an animal. Interesting. That could get annoying, or it could be like a fun, silly thing. I feel like it absolutely depends on how you implement it. Okay, if a beast attack hits a glass type, the glass type gets the debuff Shattered. That's cool. And then some glass shards are made. It's a miscellaneous status effect. While it's in effect, any character that uses a melee attack will take damage from the glass shards on the battlefield. That's an interesting idea. That's cool. And then I assume either every turn a stack of glass shards goes away, or every time a melee attack happens, glass shards will go away. It's like if you do a melee attack, you're like stepping on them. Whoa. There would be no voice acting, so it would be like NPC 1, what could the something something want with the stone? Star would just say woof. Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like you can get away with a lot with the main character doing things like that. Staring, kind of nodding, just having very generic responses to things, since a lot of main characters are intentionally designed to be kind of devoid of personality so that the player can like map their personality onto them. Master Chief is a good example of that. Okay, if air hits glass, you end up with resonance. Each time resonance is inflicted on a character, it adds to a counter. When the counter reaches 3, the character is shaken apart and instantly defeated. Oh my god. Wait, so you just hit a glass type with 3 air attacks and you just fucking win? That sounds too good. That's fucking crazy. Her personality is like a dog. Dogs can have lots of personalities. Interesting. It has a limited duration. What is that duration? Like, does it last? If it only lasted 1 turn, you couldn't really stack it up. Damn, Cassette Beast, you're not giving me enough info. Dang. Speaking about crazy things, how is Crazy Pants? She's doing good. She's got nothing to do at work, so she's out in the living room playing video games. She could be hanging out in here, but she wants to play video games. I don't blame her. I like video games. All right, let's read about a few transmutation things, or at least let's look at them. So ice is going to turn water into ice and make them flinch. Cool. She's a great girl. I think she's all right. She's sitting in the window, staring outside on the street to the streets she used to roam. So if you hit fire with plastic, you turn them into poison with a poison coating. With a status effect. Oh no, there's both a move and a status effect called poison coating. I feel like you could have avoided that. Maybe they didn't need to. Maybe poison coating just applies 3 stacks of poison coating. I don't know. Changes the elemental type for a certain number of turns. Okay. So it just, the plastic type becomes poison, but only for 3 turns. Interesting. Anyways, there'd be a set of abilities you already have to your exposer. I mean, like, okay, there's a set of abilities you would already have. A double jump, a bark range attack, which won't do any damage. It stops magic attacks. Oh, that's kind of fun. Or maybe cause them to drop their weapons. And for her main attack, she swipes at them with her claws. Gotta get a bite attack in there. At some point. A good single damage bite attack. The like bark thing makes me think of oh my god, Skyrim? Yeah. Like shouting, the dragon shouts, that's what they're called. Fus Roda. That shit's fucking fun. Fire hitting ice turns them into water. That is a really interesting idea, to just fully change a creature's type. I don't think I want to do that, but I do want to play this game now. More than I did before. Oh, lightning hitting earth turns them into glass. Okay. Now, interestingly, though, it's the heat that would turn sand into glass. Strange that fire doesn't also turn earth into glass. Damn, that's a cool idea, though. Yeah, that is a reaction to think about. Lightning or fire turning earth into glass. Ooh. Ooh, do we have room for that? We might have room for that. I guess that's what we could have happen when shock mixes with grounded. Be a cool idea. There be any sidekicks for Silent Boy's game? A floating orb which will act like a fast travel system and also give star tasks that she has unlocked by talking to NPCs or her main quest. Yeah, it's so hard. Something like that is like, it's like not it's not an original idea, but having some kind of functional tool that explains to the player how they keep track of all their quests and shit is certainly valuable for keeping your game organized and letting the player experience it in a way that makes sense. Like Baldur's Gate, you just have a quest log, and it doesn't really make sense. Like, it's very well written. Our adventurers are just out saving the world, but also they're writing paragraphs upon paragraphs about everything they're doing. I don't think so, but it's very nice to have. Okay, so a bunch of these things are just gonna change stats. Water hitting ice You're going to increase their defense to both melee and ranged attacks. I get that. That makes sense. Poison hitting fire fuels the fire type and boosts their AP. What is AP? Character with AP boost gains 1 extra AP each round. Okay, it's probably action points. That seems the most reasonable. Actually, hold on. Does the AP boost move? There we go. Uses 1 action point. Okay. I like action point systems. They're a nice point to balance things, and they add a lot of a lot of options for the player to try and figure out what they should do. And Divinity does a really nice thing. It's a turn-based RPG. You can have up to 6 action points. You typically get 4 a turn, so then you can save 2. And you're not actually wasting them. You can use them next turn, and then you can have like a crazy turn where you do a bunch of shit. It's fucking sweet. Star also has a bunch of debuffs, mostly elemental. Is she like a magic dog? Probably. Her name is Star. She's probably a magic dog. Oh, she can't handle extreme heat, water, or freezing cold temperatures at the beginning. That's cute. So, like, what? How does she come to be able to handle those? New outfits? Or is it like a psychological thing she has to overcome? She's actually slime. Cool. Okay, so she's a magic slime thing that just appears to be a dog? All right. That's fun. Okay, so a lot of these ideas, I think I want to keep in mind all the different things that they're doing here as far as like lowering stats. Thinking about how our status effects might change the stats of whoever is afflicted by them is an interesting idea. Interesting. Plants. If a plant attack hits an earth type, it seeds them and leeches health from them. That's cute. Okay, what would conductive do? Is that going to increase electrical damage? They take damage whenever any lightning type attack is used. So even if they used it, or if someone else uses an attack on someone else, they're going to get hurt too. That's interesting. She gains new abilities as she explores new places. Her first ability would be a firestone that goes into her heart, causing her to be able to combust into flames. Holy shit. That sounds extreme. As long as she doesn't die doing that, I guess it's okay. And then at that point she can probably handle extreme heat, right? Poison hitting earth. Buffs them with a buff called Tipped. And they now deal contact damage. But they deal poison. So it's like you use a poison attack on an earth guy, and now he's covered in the poison. So if anything hits that earth guy, they'll receive poison melee damage. Deal a bit of elemental damage whenever they land or receive a melee attack. Oh, right, when they do a melee attack too, sure. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Interesting. Fire on water causes healing steam. Interesting. Lightning on plastic? That's plastic? Lightning on plastic leads to contact damage of the lightning element. That one I don't feel like is incredibly thematic. Okay, wait, what was this? Debuff absorbed. So if a poison type hits a plant type, they'll absorb the poison. Shit, I don't actually have an explanation as to what absorbed means. I guess that just is this. No, it just is poison. Okay, so then the debuff is just that they get poisoned. Okay, all right. Her next ability is called Dog Paddle. Cute. She learns how to swim. She also takes less water damage. That's adorable. I feel like most dogs just naturally know how to dog paddle, right? Like you throw a puppy in the water and that's just what they do. Oh yeah, what does Berserk do? If poison hits Astral, they go Berserk. Characters with Berserk can only use damaging moves. Interesting. Okay. I think I've about seen everything. Maybe let's look at some buffs. A plant that hits a fire type gives the fire type evasion up due to smoke. Same thing with plastic on fire. Oh, lots of things hitting fire. Okay, actually, no. Only 2 things will cause smoke. Hey, no, I want to read the bottom one. Right, poison causes fueled. I don't get that. Hitting a fire with poison fuels the fire? My god, an AP boost of 3 is crazy. That's like potentially 3 attacks. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. You imagine her transforming it into an inflatable motorboat. Oh my god. That's some fucking Undertale logic right there. All right, these are cool ideas. The system is really interesting. Let's maybe take some ideas from it if we need to as we move through this stuff. Okay, so my god. Spent like an hour looking at that. Holy shit. Okay. So what we were gonna do today, and what we're still gonna do today, is finish outlining our elemental situation. So what we did last time is we kind of decided on an elemental system that uses tags. So an attack can have lots of tags. For example, the attack can either be physical or special. A physical attack means you're like physically hitting somebody with something. A special attack is more like some kind of elemental reaction is happening, and that's the source of the damage. So I guess like a good example is like Pokemon. You can have like Flamethrower, which would be a special fire attack, or you could have Fire Punch, which would be a physical fire attack. Both of them would be the fire element, but one of them is special, the other one is physical. And then the physical versus special types are broken up into the kind of damage. So a physical attack, like a fire punch, would be blunt damage. I don't know, if somebody made a fire spear, that would be piercing. A fire like sword slash would be slashing. Again, still fire damage for sure. And then special attacks, we haven't really outlined fully, but the idea was to have like 3 different kinds of like philosophical schools of magic. We're gonna use red for the color discord, which are things that are like breakdown or destruction. So the discord elements are fire, corrosion, which is like poison or acid, radiation. Force is also destructive, discordant, and then so is radiant. And then blue is concordant. You're more likely to see like buffs or heals in that area. The concordant elements are water, ice, earth, and nature. And then yellow is phasing, which is an interesting term. We might need something better, but the idea is that phasing abilities move beyond normal defenses. So it's hard. You need special kinds of defenses to deal with phasing elements. And those elements are shock, wind. It's probably electric. We'll probably change shock to electric. I think I already did that over here. Electric, wind, psychic, and sound are the phasing elements. And then the only other thing is that we will have some kind of kinetic element, some kind of not element for just very basic attacks, like Cassette Beasts has typeless, is the general idea so far. And then each of these elements has the ability to cause some kind of status effect, which is listed over here, and those status effects will interact with each other, and that will be our chemistry system or whatever. Okay, more about Star. She can't transform into anything, but she does learn how to run on all fours to go even faster. I'm sorry, she couldn't run on 4 legs? It makes more sense to think that she's a slime that's pretending to be a dog, or that, not pretending, a slime that wasn't born a dog. She needs to go faster to catch a fast bunny who has one of the pieces she needs to beat the game. Oh my god. You need the fire ability to get into a spider den as you burn the cobwebs. It's cute. Like you said, you need to learn how to run so you can catch the bunny. That, shit, that reminds me of, oh my god, Mario 64? There's like a rabbit you need to catch. Well, a rabbit you can catch for like bonus stars. And when you catch him, he's like, fucking put me down, man. Here, fine, you can have my star that I found. Fine, leave me alone. When I was a kid, that always fucking surprised me. Always. It surprised me once. The first time it happened and he talked to me, I was like, okay, what the fuck? Cool, I guess. Okay, so then what we're actually going to do today is explain what each of these things does. And then also, real quick, I'm going to change shock to electric. Don't type enter. And then I want to actually fully type this out. Oh my god, just give me a cursor. Why do you not do a cursor? You'll show me the cursor if it's over here, but you won't show it to me if it's right there. It just goes invisible. Why would you do that? Why would you fucking... That's so rude. I just want to type this out because I looked at this like a few days ago and was like, CONF. Oh, I think that's confusion, but... Okay, so we need to start with the fact that fire attacks will apply flame. And I'm not fully decided yet that like every single fire attack will apply flame. I think that's what I want to do. And like a small little ember attack might only apply 1 flame, but a huge flamethrower attack will apply lots of flame. And then the amount of flame stacks on a character will affect them, probably like more damage over time. When the flame goes to react with one of these things, the more stacks that are on there, the more intense the reaction will be. Maybe not in every case, but in most cases, that would be the situation. And then in Pokemon, being burned like reduces your damage output. I don't know if I want to do something like that. I feel like for now, I'm just gonna put like flame causes damage over time based on the number of flame stacks. And then enough flame stacks, maybe for now 20. Miro's being updated. Miro. Okay, great. We're back. Are we? Hold on. Okay, let me back in there. Let me in. Just have the hand. What has happened? Uh-oh. Miro. I just had to hit escape? I just had to hit escape. All right, that was weird. All right, get me back in here. Okay, so enough flame stacks and you'll get an explosion, which spreads flame. So that can be a potentially powerful way to spread your flame source. And then now you have a bunch of enemies that are all affected by flames, and you could do some kind of other elemental reaction to hurt them. Shit, also. Let's move this down. We're gonna be taking up a lot of space up here. Shit. Oh, the reason Star doesn't know how to run on all fours is because she's more human than dog. Wait, but she's a slime. Our slime, was she a human that got turned into a slime? She can only speak like a dog, and also the simple simplicity of a dog. Like she has this, like she acts like a dog. So if she dies, she just melts into a puddle on the floor and scurries away, dropping certain items she picked up. Oh my god. Okay, that's fun. It's a fun explanation for a mechanic. I need games that do that for like every fucking thing. I appreciate so much. Having some kind of in-game reason for everything that's happening. It's so good. And the reason needs to be believable. Not just some like lazy not reason that doesn't actually make sense. Okay. So then shock. What would shock do? So I don't know if we necessarily want to do damage over time with it. We might do, I think maybe damage over time. But then it should also limit what the character can do. Kind of like getting hit by a taser. Would be a good example. So maybe shock deals damage over time and potentially inhibits action. Maybe I'll just put like a saving throw. Dungeons and Dragons stuff will probably be a heavy inspiration. So maybe the higher your shock amount is, the higher a number you'd have to roll based on some kind of skill check. So if you're a really gritty character, you might be able to overcome high stacks of shock and still do what you're gonna do. But if you're if your character is of weaker constitution, just a few stacks of shock and you're very likely to not be able to do anything on your turn. Ooh, I don't know if I should actually note it, but everything disappears over time. Like, flame will naturally go away. So will shock, like, every turn. So it's not just, like, stuck on you forever. She is a slime, but the slime in this world isn't like normal slime. Well, yeah, if she's alive, that's already not like normal slime. Slime in your world doesn't mean you're a slime being. Instead, it's whatever DNA you have, and Star has mostly human DNA. But her mind isn't developed like a human, instead like a dog, and she keeps her human ability. Okay, that's not fully clear. So now hold on. So she has human DNA, but for some reason she acts like a dog. For some reason her mind is developed to the point where she acts like a dog, not like a human. She keeps her human ability. So like, is that why she doesn't run on all fours at the beginning of the game? This is an incredibly unusual narrative. Okay, spread is easy. The spread just spreads statuses to surrounding enemies. So right now we're doing just a brief description, but then down here we're gonna have a chart where we talk about how each thing interacts with each thing. And in some cases, things won't interact. There is at least a chance that things will, though. Like flame is definitely going to react with chill. Either in a positive way or a negative way in some situations. I think the best example would be wet and chill. If you're already wet and you get chilled, then you get frozen. Okay, so spreads status effects. Wet. Don't know if I actually want wet to do anything on its own. Wet seems like it just primes you for different interactions. She walks like a human while she doesn't walk. She kind of bounces. Oh my god. You should have just said she has the motor function of a human, but the mind of a dog. Okay. That would probably make more sense. Yeah, for sure. And so wait, is her body like a dog's or is her body like a human's? If her body is shaped like a dog's, it's gonna be so hard to walk on two legs. That's just like that's a crazy challenge. Imagining a dog trying to walk on two legs, not knowing how to walk on four is crazy. Okay, her body is human. Interesting. She just has wolf ears and a tail. But then she's gonna learn to run on all fours and be faster that way? Humans humans don't run good on feet and hands. Be cool if she learned to transform her body to be shaped like a dog. Just for the sake of running. Okay, so I don't think wet on its own will do anything. Like wet is just wet does nothing on its own. Guess like, okay, you're trying to fight a battle and then you get covered in water. You might be slower, but no. Could also go with an interesting idea of like water tied to healing and have like wet just like heals you. So then if you apply wet to an enemy in order to freeze them or something, like they're going to get a heal from it unless you freeze them quickly. That seems kind of annoying though. And the system's going to be complicated enough. Okay, so chill is going to reduce movement capabilities. Maybe movement and action capabilities. Sure. And actually, you know what? I don't need to explain this explosion thing up here. We'll explain that in the chart where fire meets fire. Yeah. Well, shoot. Can I have my spacing back? There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, and then grounded. Grounded might act similarly to chilled. If you get covered in like mud or rocks or something, you're going to, you're not going to be as capable on your turn Probably reduced movement and action, I would think. You'd also know what her idol would be. She would sit down and pull a bone out of nowhere and put it in her mouth proudly. That's cute. Welcome back, Dirg. Your fridge stayed open for a while. Because you couldn't decide what to eat. It defrosted. Oh, shit. You had to clean the puddle up. Okay, well, that sucks. I do all kinds of careless things. I don't leave the fridge open that often. Do lots of other dumb shit, though. So, you know, I know how that goes. Ooh, should we have like a 3-letter or 4-letter abbreviation for these? Ooh, maybe. GRD or GRN? Maybe we need to do 4. Ground reduces movement and actions. Just say that. Then like chill could be CHLL. You 100% the game, her bone becomes golden. That's cute. Oh, Durg, it wasn't you who did it. Dang. Dang. That's, you know, that's good of you to clean up the mess, even though you didn't cause it. That's always the, I don't know. It's like the right thing to do. We could call spread like SP. Oh, yeah, we would need 4 letters for that. Is there a better term for the word spread? Her fur would change and her eyes. Yeah, the eye change would be easy. The fur change might be hard. Depending on how into pixel art you want to get. Grow, increase, escalate, advance, develop, broaden, widen, proliferate. No. Mushroom? I guess mushrooms spread. That's a weird... okay, actually, this is probably what we're more looking for. I don't think any of these are going to work. No. No. Thesaurus.com, what do you got? Dispersion, diffusion, sweep, transfuse. No. No. No, thank you. Okay. All right. Ground also blocks and ends flying moves. Ooh, shit. Yeah, right. I don't think it wouldn't end flying moves. It would bring out like a wind type to the ground. Anybody who is flying currently would be brought to the ground. So yeah, I guess that would be the way to say that. Some characters might naturally like levitate, and they would also be brought to the ground. And dear God, unlike Pokemon, if a character visually looks like they're levitating, they're fucking levitating. I can't stand that Pokemon does that shit. Show me a picture of a guy floating on the ground, and then you're like, oh, well, he's not levitating. Why would you think that? Stupid. Stupid game. And yeah, was there anything else intrinsic that we might want Flame to do? Flame might like weaken armor. Ooh. I kind of like the idea of having each like of status ailments having a nice effect, like fire weakening armor, and also fire adds flame stacks, which can interact with the system. But maybe not for now. So then the question is, do we have ground? Yeah, I guess ground should still reduce movement and actions. And then also, like knocks enemies to the ground, to the go round. Yeah. And then chill will have lots of other interactions. It'll have more interactions than ground, which will so it'll be okay that chill does seemingly right now it looks like chill is just a worse version of ground. We'll balance it out. It'll all balance out. Fur would normally be white and red eyes. Oh, red, that's kind of creepy. Ooh, it's like an albino. It changes into black fur and white eyes. Ooh, also kind of creepy. Is she supposed to be creepy? You could probably make it like a cute kind of creepy, but both of those color combos sound creepy. Would also max her bark upgrade. Match her bark upgrade. As in, her bark is going to change when she changes visually. She's meant to be cute. At least her white fur and red eyes. Okay, all right. Red eyes is definitely like a... like either it's like red like they're like evil, or red like an albino. And that can kind of look... Actually, some animals look cute as albinos. Some of them look weird. People look a little bit weird. Just because of how pale they are. These are there... Show me an albino dog. It's a little weird, but still cute. They're still cute. All right, so what would we call fire? We would just like FLM. If we could do 4. Flam or Flammy? Oh my god, it's so hard to decide. Shock, that one's easy. Yeah, you can just skip the vowel. Brutal that wet is the only one that's 3 letters. Flamboyant. Oh my god. All right. Okay. Flamboyant is a funny typo. Black fur and white eyes, meant to represent where she comes from. Where does she come from? Okay, what are we doing with spores? So the idea with spores is it's like nature, so like you get hit by a nature spell and there's weird like plant spores affecting you. I can't remember what we were saying. I remember the reactions we wanted to have with them. Oh yeah, Dirk makes a good point. Having just like a, honestly, just like a Google Doc where you write ideas in is a good idea. She comes from the darkness known as the Void. She's a void entity. All right. Interesting that she is white and red to begin with. Yeah, we gotta do SPOR for spore if we do this. Okay, so maybe spore would like lower accuracy. Like lower accuracy or concentration. That's how she was created when the game starts. You're created out of the void instantly. Ooh. Creepy. Creepy, but kind of cool. Okay, so let's say spore lowers accuracy and concentration. Is there anything else that would happen? You get hit by a nature spell. You got a bunch of weird spores floating around your head. I think that's good. Hey, Crazy Pants. How's it going, dude? You still hanging out on the couch, shirking? Oh, cool. Acid doesn't need an abbreviation. It just gets to be itself. Okay, so acid. Let's see. So acid for sure weakens armor and causes damage over time. To do anything else? Again, aside from reactions with the rest of the system. I don't know. You just chilling? Sweet. Lower accuracy for spores. Yeah, for sure. We have that. So acid would weaken armor. So acid would be useful against like heavily armored foes. Wonder if we should have something for reducing the effectiveness of magic armor. Because acid should really weaken like physical armor. Not magic armor. The reason you want to make sure her fur is different from the Black Void is to probably represent good or evil. Well, not probably, it's your idea. Unless you mean you don't want the player to be sure about it. That can be fun. Ooh, acid might limit healing. Or increase with healing. The increase what's the idea behind increasing? Like it would stack up. It would be amplified by healing. Ooh. Whoa, that's an okay, I don't know how thematically we would make that work, but that's a really interesting idea. So then if you have acid on you and you can't get it off, but you need to heal, you're gonna make the acid worse? Ooh. Damn, that's a cool idea. I don't know. Okay, I don't think I want to do that. Like, it doesn't feel like it fits thematically, but that is a cool idea. Maybe we can find a place for that. That's a cool fucking idea. Good and evil is perspective based. Oh man, there's like Silent Boy. There's like fucking. There's people who go to school for like 10 years to that argue about that stuff. Whether good and evil is actually like, is there actually concrete good and concrete evil? Is it all perspective based? Is the line between the two where your perspective is? That shit is fucking complicated. At the beginning of your game, you watch as a god traps someone in a crystal and then shatters said pieces, which you're gonna collect. Clearly you can see the god is doing something bad. Okay, yeah, sure. In that case, yeah, you can, especially you, the creator of the work. If you do it right, you can clearly convey like, this person fucking sucks. This person bad. And then maybe down the line you give them a little bit of nuance as a character, like maybe you let the player understand why they're bad. I personally like villains that I can understand why they're doing the bad thing. And then you still want to stop them, but you're like yeah, I get it. I get why you're doing what you're doing. It makes sense. You're out for revenge, but now you're bringing innocent people into your revenge, including me. I gotta stop you. You know, like something like that. It's interaction, not inherited stuff that acid does. Greg morale enjoyers? Greg will tell us about it. Gray moral enjoy. Because the morality is gray and Greg is gray, so she'll tell us about. I don't know if she's an expert on these things. But the god also may have a reason to do it. Yeah. You're gonna be real with me, Star isn't a hero. Ooh. There's still room to have an interesting game an interesting story within your game, if that's the truth. I think you'd want to be careful and not making like if Star isn't a hero, but then you find out that they are like as you play the game, if you find out they're just like absolutely terrible, they're like a despicable villain, like players might not want to play as her anymore. There's a game called Genshin Impact, and there is a story, and then without any real explanation, characters in the story, you can kind of like use them to fight in your team. Sometimes they fight with you when it makes sense in the story and they're on your team. And then there's a whole separate aspect where you can make them join you just throughout the rest of the game. And like there are some really evil characters that they let you put on your team, which means you get to play as them. And I'm like, no, I don't ever want to play as these like 3 people. They fucking suck. They're like bad people. I don't ever want them on my team. I don't care if they're like good. I'm never going to try to get them. I don't fucking want them. She isn't evil as well. She's more of a pawn. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that could still work. That could work. Oh, and on the note of the like God having a reason to do what it did. I think when you present something like that to the player, when you show them what's happening, you can, like, if you show that the way the god goes about it being like malicious or cruel, then you can kind of make the player think like, oh, maybe they had a reason to do what they did, but like also they're kind of being an asshole about it. You know, like there's room for that level of evilness where like you understand eventually why they're doing what they're doing, but then also you show that the way they're doing it is like no, that's bad. Don't do that. You the player, you're seeing this, you know that's being shitty. You know that's bad. I saw a YouTube video where a dungeon master was specifically talking about if you want to make a game like Dungeons and Dragons, but the world is set within like a Studio Ghibli universe. They're the people that made like My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle and Kiki's Delivery Service. A lot of movies. They've made a bunch of whimsical, enchanting, kind of children's movies. I don't know. I still kind of like them, but they are definitely focused toward kids. But his thesis was you make a villain who has just misunderstood what's good about life, and that like every Studio Ghibli movie does that. Whatever level of villainy the antagonist is, they're like an adult who has just completely misunderstood what is valuable about life. And then the protagonist is like no, life is about friends and family. And then the conflict naturally occurs and then resolves in some way. But like that is how you make a Studio Ghibli based world. You have a villain who just fucking is an adult who misunderstands all the valuable parts of life. And I think about that a lot when I'm trying to decide on my villain's motivations for stuff. Anyway, let's keep moving. So psychic and sound are both going to have the potential to confuse, which I think will make them powerful to use together if you're going to focus around stacking up confusion. And again, the point of this system is that things will be able to interact with the status ailment, like confusion. Like the force attacks will be able to amplify any status ailment, including confusion. But you also might have like a piece of armor that will let you do bonus damage on an enemy based on how confused they are, or something like that. So depending on the gear you have, the gear you've collected throughout the game, you'll be able to kind of tailor a unique build around focusing on specific kinds of status ailments. And then enemies will have resistances to these things. So you might have a build that's based around increasing confusion really high, and it's really good, but then you come up against a boss, and that boss is like, they have mental fortitude, so that's very hard for them to become confused. Or they have a spell where they can clear off confusion. So not every not every kind of build will be powerful against every kind of enemy. But there will be situations where every kind of build can be incredibly powerful, like to the point of feeling brokenly good. I like the feeling of like I broke a game, like doing so much fucking damage. Like a guy has 1,000 health and you do like 10,000 damage to him in this one specific situation. Feels fucking sweet. You were going to show after defeated bosses that you can see an interaction between the god and the boss. Okay, sure, yeah, like a story beat that the player wouldn't really necessarily... Their character wouldn't see, but the player will see it. Should probably be the god forcing the shard into the person even though they don't want anything to do with it. It's the god saying this is more important than whatever the person is doing in their life. Okay, sure, so it's like they're like the ends justify the means kind of villain. Sure. How about confusion stacks are a resource to inflicting other mental statuses? Ooh. Ooh. For example, some attacks can scare if having 2 stacks of confusion. And some might charm. Okay, that's a really cool idea. I think confusion should do something on its own, but I really like the idea of confusion leading to certain attacks having an extra little bonus if confusion is high enough. I want each of these things to work differently. Like, whoa. Like flame, you just want the more flame on a person, the better. Like if they're your enemy, the more flame that's on them, the better. In 99% of situations. Maybe if they're like a fire creature, that's probably bad. But in almost every situation, more flame is better. But I like this idea of confusion. Like, you don't really want a shitload. You just want enough to be able to get off your secondary ability. Ooh, lower initiative or lower speed. Yeah, that's a good idea. How do we abbreviate confuse? Conf? CNFS? Confuse? Yeah, sure. No, CONF should be fine. Okay, so yeah, we'll either lower initiative or speed. Maybe both. I think we'll have to see how it shakes out balance-wise. For sure. But yeah, that's a good idea. Like the character's confused, so they're not as quick as they normally would be because they're like overloaded with stimulus. And I think I want to make a note here so I'll remember. And allows certain attacks to have bonus effects. Like fear or disorient. We can probably come up with some other interesting psychological bonus effects for attacks to have. It's a cool idea. Greg, hello. Ooh, stretch it, girl. Yeah. You also want your game to teach the player how their world works and what exactly is the void. Because the void and the world you explore are connected, but also not the same. That could be a cool idea. That seems very, the early phases, right? You need to really think about how that's going to be reflected in the game that you make. But yeah, I definitely try to think about stuff like that a lot. What I want the players to be thinking about and experiencing as they play through the game that I'm making. But then I'll also try to make sure the game is just on the surface level entertaining in case somebody's playing through it and they're really not looking for a deeper story or a deeper message to the point that they're going to ignore it. They need the game to be entertaining outside of that, you know? Amplify increases stacks of any incoming statuses after it. Yeah, definitely. So we might just label this as amp. Ooh, that might make it sound like electricity, though. No. No, we'll just have to go with it. It'll be fine. Shock is very clearly the electric one. Amp. It'll be a little bit confusing, but I think it's like one confusing keyword. All right, let's see the rest of these. Confuse is a little weird. I think all the rest of them, maybe spread, is a little bit difficult too. I think the system is understandable though. You could learn these keywords pretty quickly. To balance amplify, it might also increase attack power. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I do like the idea of having it have some kind of effect, but so if we make it increase the opponent's attack, or the target's attack, I guess it could increase your attack if you get hit by a force element attack. If we do that, I feel like players are going to be discouraged from using force attacks. They're only going to use them if they have a bunch of other stacks of things built up, and that might be needlessly punishing. I guess force attacks could just be like relatively powerful, and then the status effect changes could both affect good things and bad things. So if like the opponent had buffed themselves, you don't want to use amplify on them. You want to get rid of their buffs first. Otherwise, you might amplify their buffs. That's an interesting idea. Because I was thinking it would be cool to be able to take status ailments and then turn them into buffs. Like it would be cool if you could take stacks of chill that were on you and like reform them into like ice armor or something. So you've taken something that was once negative and now you've made it into a positive, and then amplify would affect either of those things. It would either increase your chill stacks, which would be bad for you, or if you had frost armor on, it would increase the amount of frost armor you had, which would be good for you. I think balancing force is going to come down to really seeing how useful everything else is in relation to how it interacts. Like it might be so good that force spells need to be like not that powerful, because damn, the way that this can interact with every other system, just boosting every other system, is a little bit worrisome for balance potentially. Yeah, good point. Otherwise, you'd always use amplify if it didn't have a drawback. It needs to have some kind of drawback, but the drawback needs to seem fair. And I think maybe just buffing everything could work. And that would kind of get at the idea you were saying, that it would like increase attack power, but in my example, only if they had given themselves an attack power buff. So then you could view force would be something you'd use at the beginning of a fight, potentially. I don't know. I think we'll wait on expanding it. Oh, right. Should we have the caster also be amplified? Shoot. Maybe. That is an interesting idea. Okay, let's note that down. So stacks of other statuses and also affects the caster. Maybe. ask every power has a counter power? Potentially. I feel like things could have multiple counters or fewer counters. But then they would need, if you have fewer counters, then maybe that element isn't going to be as strong or something. I don't know. Okay, Silent Boy, what did you say? We got distracted with elemental discussions. The void has its own ecosystems and biomes. The player won't be able to explore the void. They just see it in the background. Oh, you don't get to explore it at all? That's kind of a tease. It's going to be like Breath of the Wild's Great Plateau, where you explored a bit, but after you leave, you really don't go back. Yeah, that could be okay. I feel like showing off the ecosystem and biome of the void would, if it's cool, like, you'd want to be there more. I don't know. Obviously, your game. Make it how you want. Okay, so sound. Do we want to do anything unique with sound? Like, I think we'll have quite a few spells with sound that are about, like, misdirection and confusion. And same with Radiant as well. But I think the confusion status might just be exactly the same as psychic confusion. I've run out of space. Come down here and exist in the void for a bit, table. Okay. And then Radiant. So the idea with Radiant is that it is like holy light. It isn't just heat, but there would often be heat with it. Radiant is like the light, godlike light. Also like lights that might like dazzle or confuse. But specifically, if our status effect is light, you're essentially like, as you add light onto an enemy, you're making them easier to see. And I'm not sure what else. It might just be that they're easier to hit. You'd probably only be in the Void Wastelands, or maybe something like a Wastelands. If you tease the players who want to explore the Void, that can also allow you to create a survival game about the Void. Okay, yeah, that's a cool idea. As long as you're... I feel like with any kind of creative medium, as long as you are aware of what you're doing, there's like no wrong answer. Like, you could take any one thing that somebody is like, when you're designing a game, don't do blank. And if you do blank, but you do it very intentionally, like you could still make a cool experience. Light as a spotlight increases initiative. Okay, that's an interesting idea. So you would think, so you're saying if I hit an enemy with like holy light, they're not only easier to see, but their initiative would increase. It's like they're in the spotlight. They're under pressure. That is an interesting idea. So, we need our abbreviation. Oh no. Oh no. I don't like any of these. They look so weird. I think we have to do LGHT. Oh, I hate it. Oh my god. Okay, I like really hate that. Some of the others I dislike, but holy shit, I hate that. I could just abandon the idea of having these simple shortened abbreviations, but actually, honestly, in the game, it would probably make sense to just have these be like an icon and then the player could like click on that icon to get information about the element. And like an icon of light would make more sense than just LGHT. Okay, fine. We'll do that, but I'll still use LGHT as the abbreviation. I'm okay with it now, knowing that I'm the only person who will actually see it. Not the only person, but you know, the players won't interface with these weird abbreviations. Okay, so light. If you have light on you, I guess light makes you easier to hit, but raises initiative. I don't know, but I want it to do something else. I want something else. I did not mean to click that plus button. Can we undo that plus button? No. There we go. Okay, my lord. Ooh, Silent Boy, you want to put horror elements in the game. Horror-like elements. And when the horror element happens, you can even see in Star's face her getting fearful. So then, well, actually, that could be kind of hard. If you want the player to experience horror elements, then it can be hard to show the character's face during that happening if they're controlling the character. But having a good mix of like cinematic horror elements and like playable action horror elements could let you still show the character's emotion. That's cool. Undertale's a cozy game, but it does have horror elements. Yeah, that's a good point. Undertale's really fun. It's not really a believable world, but you kind of just forgive that because it's so silly and weird. But like, God, it does get a little... It gets a little, at least the spot that I'm in is like kind of depressing. Alphys is just, I feel bad for her. It's going to be 3D so you can see the character the entire time, but would the player actually look, right? Like, you can spend hours making a cool looking character in Elden Ring, and then like, you don't really look at your face when you're actually doing stuff, you know? It won't just be her face that changes. Yeah, if she's a dog, that could be you could go for like body posture and like fur standing on its end and things like that. That's a cool aspect of having a protagonist that's not human. Although I feel like a cat would be much more expressive in that way. Cats are way more known for hair raising, standing up on the back of their on their backs or on their tail. Okay, so maybe light makes you easier to hit and blinds you. Blinding is an interesting thing. I guess it will like lowers accuracy. I'll put that as blinding. The initiative thing is interesting. I feel like we might just have that be a separate thing, that there are radiant spells that would raise your initiative, but then as a consequence also put light on you. Potentially. Would also light the area around in the night. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting thing to think about. And because that's kind of what I'm getting at in a small way, for that it makes you easier to hit, right? Like if you're in a dark cave and you get a glowing like light ball around you, you're going to be easier to hit, and it's going to be harder for you to see. It'll be like no matter where you look, it's like somebody is shining a flashlight in your eyes or something. But interesting to think about it affecting the environment. I feel like that would just be a separate aspect of each spell, would be how it affects the environment, and not a direct part of this system. Unless I want the player to be able to interact with that light in some kind of like really specific way. Like I definitely want to be able to light like bushes and things on fire potentially. Like there might be a battlefield that has a lot of bushes or plants, and line of sight is limited for ranged attacks, but then you could like light a bush on fire and then spread that fire to a bunch of bushes, and then within a few turns the bushes will be gone and no longer an obstacle, which could benefit your opponents, you know, but as long as you're careful, you could make it benefit you more than your opponents. Just don't do it in a situation where there's a lot of enemies with ranged attacks. Or do, and it'll fuck you over. And if you're on a hard difficulty, you might lose. You know? Shit. You'd have Star's ears go down gently, and instead of being bouncy, she's more still and weary with her movements. That's an interesting idea. That seems that seems hard. You'd have to I don't even know how you would do that well. You'd have to get really good at like animations in Blender or some other rigging system. The movement doesn't change, it's just her animation that changes. Yeah, I think players would appreciate that. It can kind of be annoying in games where you're like forced to slow walk or like do things that make playing annoying. It can be okay if it's done in just the right way for like the weight of the moment, but oh my god, sometimes it's just fucking annoying. In the daylight might not do much. Yeah, that's an interesting point. So like maybe it should only make you easier to hit in the dark. Or we could go with some interesting idea that like, because this is like holy light, if you cast this on your opponent, it's not just like it's not just that you see them better, but it's like God's eye is on them. Like you have cast the eye of a greater power on them, and like that greater power is like it's on your side as the caster. And so like God focusing down on some other enemy makes them like easier for you to hit. It's like you have like God's favor or something. And also that simplifies this explanation, because I feel like the player might be annoyed if they think this will always help them hit a target, and then they do it on a bright day and it like doesn't help. I feel like that would bother some people. And even once you know that, having to constantly check like, okay, how bright is it? Do I want to use my radiant spells? I don't know if I like that idea. Yeah, you're right. We could just lower accuracy. I don't know. I think we'll go with this for now. We'll go with the bonus chance to hit them. It makes it a little bit more unique than like spores, which already lower your accuracy. Do we have gods now? Well, we don't currently, really. But like, so you feel like corrosion is as much God's eye. Well, it could just be a different kind of attention from a god, right? You might just show an area status effect. Oh, that's, yeah. Oh. Honestly, I think we need to treat each spell on its own. And so like we might have a spell that's going to apply light to any creature that steps into it, into like a circular area or something. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like the way to do it. So we just have at a base what light does, and then it can be applied. There will be attacks that just like strike an enemy with like a holy attack that's going to put light on them, or attacks that like hit an entire area that are more powerful. Okay. So I think that's good for just like the basic first pass through of what things do. And then I want to add other statuses that might come off of this. And right, I made a note here that acid weakens armor. Radiation weakens player. Weakens player. Oh my god, what is this note that I left? I don't remember this note. Shit. I'll have to go back and watch the VOD. You mean the area might have a dark tag that you'll see? Yeah, I plan to do it like Baldur's Gate, where any area you mouse over, the game just tells you at any given moment, like, here's how dark it is and what that results in. Like, it might be very dark so that your vision is obscured. It might be broad daylight. It might be like in between, so you might get away with hiding more likely than you would in bright daylight. That will be like a global, like, I don't know, like there will just be that information for every single tile, essentially. But yeah, I don't know how to actually handle that, but that's the way I want to handle it. You just remembered a fun yet dangerous ability you have in Star's file. Star gets an ability that allows her to use her slimy body to stick to a wall and swing like Spider-Man. Oh my god. Silent Boy, this seems hard to fucking make. You might have to lower your expectations. Ooh, if Star's in a dark area, her eyes just glow in the dark. That's a cool idea. Also a cool idea for a cat character, because they have reflective... they have like really, really good night vision by like reflecting light. They can like trap even a small amount of light in their what? Oh my god. The back of their eye. There's a certain term for it. Team Worm's been in here talking about how there's like there's some kind of engineering equivalent, and they're called like cat's eye reflectors because they use a similar form. I don't know. Anyway. Dirk, you mentioned snowfall. Was that just mentioned in line with like things having tagged information? You want to really get in this being a grid info. Well, okay, so for here, I just want to like note extra things if they're relevant. And damn it, I had a bunch of ideas of what needed to go in here. And so at least one thing right here, like just real quick, I want to mention like fear and disorient. Things that might come from confusion. And then we're gonna go down here and actually talk about the direct interaction between each of these different things. So like, what other statuses do I fucking care about? You know what? I'm gonna go from. We'll go from the top. So I think the only thing to mention, flame builds up to an explosion. And actually, let me do those in all caps. So if you get enough stacks of flames, you'll get an explosion. That's not going to be something that comes into play with interacting with other effects. This is just if you do a bunch of flame. Obviously, if you have some flame and you amplify that flame, you can get an explosion, but that's because amplify is all about just increasing the stacks of things you already have. Shock. I feel like high enough shock is just like... Shock builds up to a stun. Maybe, or in like an arc. God, maybe both. Like the idea would be, if a character gets enough shock on them, they're stunned. They're gonna miss their next turn, no matter what their constitution is, no matter how strong of a character they are. There is some amount of electricity that they're gonna skip their turn, and then the electricity might jump to nearby creatures, similar to the explosion. And I guess I should note, builds up to an explosion that spreads flame. And so the flame explosion will just spread it all around within an area. I feel like arc is going to try to jump to a few sources. Arc will jump to fewer targets than flame might. Flame will just hit everybody in an area. Arc will go further, but will only target fewer things. Shock builds up to a stun. And arc spreads the shock to surrounding targets. Yeah, that works. That works. It's fun to conceptualize. Yeah, it is definitely fun to come up with crazy ideas. And who knows, with certain, I don't know about like 3D modeling tools. There might be some tools that would let you achieve close to the result you want. And, you know, maybe it's not going to be perfect as if a team of 20 people worked on it, but you might still be able to get the ideas across. Undertale is really inspiring me in that way. There's a lot of things in Undertale that are like very simply done. Like a character jumps out a window, and instead of them animating like jumping out of a window, like the dev just took the sprite and like rotated him and like threw him out the window. And like I know how to do that in Godot. That would take not that much time to actually make the little equation that just takes his sprite and like rotates it and launches it out the window. So like if you're willing to take shortcuts like that, you know, you can still convey the idea and people will still accept it if the game is good enough otherwise. Your laptop isn't good enough to make a game. I bet you... again, you got to set your sights low potentially, but you probably could. Additional notes was alternate, not main effects. You might be right. Well, shit. I feel like these are still kind of the alternate effects, because we want to have this table down here, again, is for the direct interaction between forms. And then this section is going to just be like other information about those forms. I don't know. We're still okay. I think we're all right. I think spread is just going to not have anything. Spread statuses. Ooh, actually, maybe we could have spread. Maybe we could like reduce enemies' resistances to things. Maybe like, we could have like spread and shred. And maybe we don't have this be a direct result of spread, but certain wind attacks might also, when they spread like a fire element, they might also reduce the enemy's resistance to it. Might be fun. That is a thing that Genshin does. Not directly, but it is very common for wind characters to have some kind of ability where they shred an enemy's resistances. And that just sounds fun for building up combos. Star's abilities, you could create a roguelike 2D game or a game like Hollow Knight. Yeah, that might be a good place to start. Really, anything that you can do where you can start learning, like spending time and learning how to program things and getting comfortable with using whatever game engine is super valuable. Spread's an instantaneous effect, though. Yeah, so I don't think this will be something that adds up. This isn't going to be like you stack up enough spread and you get shred. It'll just be like some wind attacks will have this thing. So the player will eventually learn, like, oh, that's something I might expect from wind element, whether it's armor or weapons or spells, reducing enemy resistances. And so that might be a viable way to deal with an opponent who has like really high fire resistance or something. The idea might be like, okay, you need to kind of switch your team around so you can bring in a wind person, and they'll have abilities where you can reduce that enemy's fire resistance to the point where you can take them out with your with the specific team you've built. And maybe that wouldn't be the best way to do it, but you could do it. But yeah, in Genshin, doing this is often part of like making a character do optimal damage almost always involves having some kind of wind elemental resistance reduction on the opponent. And God, wind spells are just fun. I want people to use wind spells, even though they don't directly interact with the system. Honestly, spreading's probably enough. I don't know. We'll figure out if we need shred or not. I like it. I want it in there. That would simplify a lot of things. Would also remove a lot of the details you want. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's like it's just full of compromises. Creating a video game is art, but also lots of compromise, and it's brutal. And honestly, maybe you do what a lot of people do, which is you make your first game, and then you convince more people to work with you on the next game, and then maybe the next game can be a reimagining of your first game. Like if you play A Link to the Past and then you play Ocarina of Time, like it's kind of the same fucking game remade again. Like not really, but like kind of. Okay, I don't think water will have any other like secondary effect. Maybe some kind of like restoration. Maybe. I'm just gonna put a question mark, because we want water to be commonly like a healing thing. So maybe a typical secondary effect of a water spell might be like let's say you have a healing spell. If that healing spell's water, it's not just going to heal a chunk of health. It's going to do some more healing over time. Maybe like 60 health the turn you use it, and then 10 health every turn for the next 4 turns or something. Or maybe we focus on water doing status removal, like removing poison or other negative things with certain spells. Oh, Durg, was Resprite the thing where you can like do like animations? It's like a special pixel editor that lets you do like animation movements. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the base pixel editor. There is something that we talked about at some point that I have bookmarked somewhere that lets you do like nice animations with pixel art. I guess not like nice. Like the nice way to do an animation with pixel art is you hand draw every part of it. But it was a way of doing like a sort of like 3D rigging, but for pixel art. That shit was cool. 2D will allow text to be simpler, and you could have the character face be next to their text. Yeah, definitely. I think that is a there's a reason that tons of games use that, right? It might not be the one answer, but it's a good answer. Resprite looks like A Sprite. Okay. Yeah, then I'm thinking of something else. I really like A Sprite. I use A Sprite. And mostly because I like looking at pixel art, and whenever people would be like, what did you make this in? Almost every single time the answer was in A Sprite. And then A Sprite was on sale for like $1. It was like a fucking $1 on Humble Bundle or something. And I was like, give me that. Fucking gimme. Okay, so chill can lead to frozen, and probably at this point frost armor. Yeah, I guess what I should say is chill, not all caps. Chill builds up to frozen. And what do I want to say? Like, can be transmuted into frost armor. And ooh, it would be interesting to have an entire group of, like, an entire magic element whose job it was to transmute things from one form into another. Honestly, that could be like Radiant, since that's already like kind of like godlike power. I don't know. Maybe we just use this term here and it doesn't need to be an element. And we'll just have spells, like an ice spell, that can give you some frost armor, and you'll get even more if you have stacks of chill. I don't know. We were thinking on water additional effects. Not restore, but respite. Oh my god, did you type respite, but you meant to type respite? A light and ice interaction. Okay, well, wait, hold on. The water thing. Okay, so what... A respite is like when you have like a short period of rest or relief from something difficult. So how would that translate into a mechanic? What would that be doing? What would that mean? Like, would you like shield them? Okay, it would still be some kind of healing. Okay, so you're saying don't use the term restore, use the term respite. But with it, okay, still healing, but with a different narrative. Okay, let's put that in parentheses. If we could come up, what if... So what if we had, because like we might have nature do restoration. But what if water did like a temporary shield? And so in that way it would be like a respite, like you would temporarily have protection. Maybe like temp shield. That could be interesting. And maybe we still do restore. Water and nature both could do restoration. But respite is an interesting term, and it makes me think of like a temporary shield, which sounds cool. And could be something that grounded can do. I do like the idea of being able to get what you want from different elements. So like if you, the player, really like the earth element, and you're doing something where you're like, oh, I just need a shield. I need like a really good shield to take this attack during this boss fight or something, so that my main character won't die. I like the idea that you could get that thing from multiple different angles. Maybe you could use an item. Maybe you could use the water element, a special spell or two, or the earth element, a special spell or two, or an earth piece of gear. I like the idea of an elemental system essentially being a bunch of puzzle pieces, and then I, the game dev, am like, okay, what about this situation? What puzzle pieces would you put together to solve this situation? And then it's up to the player to be able to express themselves with things that they like, because there's always multiple answers, so then they can decide, well, okay, I like this kind of element over that one, so this will be my answer. Yeah. Anyway. Maybe it will be scribe bosses, trainers, command abilities that cause the elements to transmute. Yeah, I was thinking we can, instead of having it be an element, we can always have it be individual spells. And there could be a spell that's power is that like it can transmute almost anything. So like there might be an ice spell that will give you a little bit of frost armor, but if you're chilled, it'll give you more. Or there might be an earth spell that if you have grounded built up, you can turn that into armor. Or we might just have a character who has like a powerful ability. And that powerful ability is anything you have that could be turned into armor, let's turn it into armor. Whether it's chill, whether it's ground, whatever. Oh my god, turn acid into armor. Actually, that would be really interesting. Like a spell that takes all of the negative things you have on you and turns it into some kind of buff. It would have to be very costly to do it, but that would be fucking cool. It would be a cool thing for a boss to do, especially if the boss had a warning. Like the game tells you that that's going to happen, and then it's up to you to do something to stop it. It's a cool thing about Destiny. Destiny has raids, which are 6-man activities where you defeat bosses, but the boss almost always is invincible when you start the encounter, and you have to do some shit, solve some weird puzzly stuff to make it so that you can hurt them. And sometimes there are like extra things you can do to stop them from doing a bonus thing that's good for them and bad for you. And then a lot of times when the raid first comes out, you've got to do it. But then as time goes on, you don't actually need to do that thing. You could deal with the boss's like bonus attack. It's not that big of a deal. But when it first comes out and everybody's a low level trying to beat it early on, you've got to deal with the extra mechanics. I really like that, like an optional puzzle that you might want to engage with. You'd need to stack negatives on one symbiote before transmuting it to armor, though. Ooh, like it wouldn't happen in one turn. Yeah. And that's an interesting idea, whether you're doing it or whether the boss is doing it. That like risk reward of having just piling a negative thing upon negative thing into onto one character and then hoping that they'll survive. Yeah. That is a cool idea. Okay, you know what? I need to put that in the cool notes section. Here we go. Google. Oh my god, right. Because my fucking drive was full, it didn't want me to edit stuff. Okay, there we go. And now I gotta find it again. Had to refresh. Okay, so what I want to add is a spell or attack that turns negative ailments into a buff. Maybe a boss telegraphs that he's going to do this. All right, cool. Okay, so let's keep moving. We're at least semi-productive. So, what other things does ground do? Ground is going to reduce your movement and your actions, but what would it lead to? If you get too much of it, then there should probably be a similar effect like frozen, but you might get like rooted in place. How do we make this like unique and flavorful and maybe balanced? Just a maybe on that last one. We can fudge the numbers to make it balanced. We want unique and flavorful. Ooh, ground causes crystallization. Yeah, no, I was definitely thinking roots were more of a nature term too. Okay, sure. That's a cool term. That's a term that Genshin uses. But for Genshin, it's the term for like the crystal drops that you pick up that give you a shield. Nope. Crystal? Oh my god, that's definitely... Okay. I guess we should say builds up. Builds up to cause crystallize. And I guess it would work the same as Frozen, where like essentially the character is going to be unable to act if this happens. And you, the player, and your opponents are going... Nobody wants this to happen. Except maybe in a very rare circumstances. And for the most part, it'll be viewed as a negative. Causes Christ. Okay, look, it would be spelled with a Y and no H. And yeah, definitely we want... the ground buildup will definitely isolate you from shock. And that we're going to talk about. That's a good example of what goes in this guy down here. For sure. And we'll probably get there today. We'll at least start that stuff today. A bunch of them will be easy. What else might ground do? And not just ground, like the earth element. What else might we see? What else, like what typical things might you see? I guess the same way I wrote about frost armor. We'll just do the same thing. You can make like earth armor out of it. And we're going to need to differentiate these quite a bit. Because right now they're essentially very similar. I think frost armor wouldn't make you immune to electrical attacks. Ground armor will, but we need more differences than that. Ooh, having it be spiked armor is interesting. That's a cool idea. So it would both protect you but also be offensive. Damn, it's almost like you could do that with frost armor too. You could make like ice spikes. Okay, but for the sake of differentiation, maybe we don't do that. What would we do that would differentiate these? Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough of a situation. Enough of a difference. Can't think of anything else you might do with earth. You might make the ground like muddy. But I honestly feel like that would kind of be the goal of attacking the like one of the aspects of this game will be that you can aim a lot of your attacks at the environment. And so if you had dirt and then you hit it with water, you would probably turn that dirt into mud, and then it's going to be hard for people to walk through that area. Well, would we do something similar with earth? Because really, you could just cover the ground in mud. Frost armor makes you slide. That's an interesting idea. So like frost armor would increase your mobility. It would give you plus movement. That is a fun idea. And it's a really fun inversion of chill making you slow. So then spike armor isn't going to give you plus movement. No, it's the counterpoint. It'll give you damage. I guess we'll just call it like thorns and armor, since thorns is a very common term. If you do melee attacks, if you get into melee combat, you're going to deal some bonus damage. Whether someone comes in and punches you or you go and punch them because your armor is thorny, the idea is that you're going to do some damage with your spike armor, just physically running into them. And that is regularly referred to as thorns in card games, in fucking Souls games? Pretty sure. No, you mean if you're attacked, you slide out of reach until you're at an edge. Like if you get hit, you slide. Oh my god. Okay. Well, now hold on. That would be annoying. That is a thematically accurate idea, but I feel like it would be annoying. So we could even say like you get plus movement and knockback, maybe? That is an interesting idea. Like, you're easier to knock back because you would slide, but then you can also move more because you can slide. And also, it would be plus movement and knockback on like hard surfaces. So let's say I want this to fit nicely. There we go. Armor plus movement and knockback on hard surfaces. Okay. An interesting idea. We might tweak this, but it is a fun idea. And then, is there anything else that would make ground unique? Since we have nature, ground isn't going to be doing like vines or like tendrils that would grab you. That would be nature stuff. I don't know. I feel like we're missing something obvious ground does. Nah. We're fine. It's fine. Okay, so the nature column is the stuff I don't really remember. Well, I remember restoration because we just added restoration to it. Okay, so at some point we talked about causing madness in like beasts. So I guess maybe we'll call that like feral / madness. Or actually, maybe just madness. And then if we had a spell or something, it could be called feral. And a typical kind of madness in games is that the opponent will just attack the closest target to them. There was a strange noise, and now I know what it is. I have left a fan on. Oh, well, it's all good. Nature are vermin, feral, overgrowth, force. Ooh, overgrowth is a cool term. Let's see. Will feral fit up here? We'll just leave that for flavor. Okay. So we have a lot of... There's a lot of just terms that I added here. Probably too many. Nature handling the poisons makes sense. And then the question is, do we want poison to be a reactive status? I don't really feel like poison would interact with these things. Like, poison is like a very internal thing. If you're poisoned, it's happening inside you. So I don't know if it should interact with these things. And yeah, Berserker is an interesting term. I feel like that would be like a buff that has some drawbacks, which is, I think, a pretty common use of the term. Like, you do more damage, but you take more damage, or you do more damage and take less damage, but you've got to attack every turn. It was additional notes. Only the first column is interactive. Yeah, so I was just thinking, like, if we wanted it to be interactive, then it shouldn't be here. I was just revisiting the idea, you know, making sure that it's reasonable to be here. But man, the way it's looking is that nature is gonna have so many like secondary effects. You think we might exclude restrain? Yeah. Restrain is actually a kinetic-like thing. Yeah, I feel like this is where you get into kind of a gray area. Because so many things, like all of these elements are going to be manifesting themselves in ways where they physically interact with characters and the world. And so maybe over here we're just putting things that we're very likely to see in these areas. Like maybe we could come up with a reason for some of these to appear in different areas, but they're most likely to appear as a nature-related spell or a nature-related buff on a weapon, or an enemy. If an enemy does nature magic, they can probably do quite a few of these things. But you might see restrain somewhere else. Especially like, I don't know, maybe you might have an ice spell that's just gonna like freeze the enemy's feet. Like, my god, I think it's called Frost Nova. In World of Warcraft, if you're a mage, you're a little squishy guy, and you throw fireballs at people from far away. But if someone gets close to you, I think you can use a spell called Frost Nova that just sends out a wave of ice, and it just like freezes everybody in their place, and then you could just like teleport away. It has a pretty long cooldown, but something like that might be a reason to give restrain to an ice spell, but it would be rare. Ooh, shattering armor might cause bleed. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Oh, and same with shred. Yeah, so I think we have to be open to individual spells that might have one of these effects, but they're not part of the category that we expect them to be in, and that's okay. That's just like the non-absolute nature of elements, right? But I still think we should try to decide if we should put these capitalized keywords where we think they belong the most. You think we might just throw a universal effect zone? Yeah, that might... I feel like the way to think about it is, for the right reason, any of these could be universal. But maybe not. Maybe we should be more deliberate about which ones can be, which ones can go out of their element. And so then maybe for now, let me just like bold the ones that I think is the case for that. Okay, so like, but what about the ones that we think will appear in multiple areas? Like, I feel like Restore could absolutely be part of nature. You know what? I think it's just okay. I think we just like handle it as we go, and then maybe like when I'm done with the game in like 5 fucking years, then we like when we're organizing like a fucking wiki or something, we can go back and note which things can go out of their element. Because I don't think it's terrible. Like, if a player's playing a game and they get restrained by a spell that's not a nature spell, I don't think they would be, like, so incredibly mad. They would just be like, okay, so sometimes non-nature spells can restrain me. But then when they're thinking about it the other direction, when they're like, dang, I really need to restrain this boss, nature spells restrain. Like, they should still remember where most restrain spells are. So yeah, I think that's fine. And then I think, yeah, we should just call this like restore. So I think restore will be the term for like health over time. And I guess I should actually just explain these, right? So there will just be like straight up heals, but then there will also be like health over time. Growth would be what, like small incremental buffs? Like a spell that would increase your speed by a tiny bit, but over multiple turns. It's like the idea of restore HP over time, but instead focused on like a stat. Yeah, okay. We might have a net item that restrains someone. Yeah, sure. I think there will always be room for items, whether non-magical or magical, to mimic one of these elemental things. Regen. Restore is dispelling things. Ooh. Ooh. Well, I was conceptualizing it differently because I have status removal up here. Restore is just like to put back. Yeah, I guess regen is a better term. Regen is less vague. Because I think we are both right about what restore could mean. I don't know if I want to use restore for status removal. Like, it's not wrong, but like I said, it could make people think of a different term. Status removal is such a mouthful, though. Okay. All right. For the sake of clarity, we'll do that. Okay, so we still need to explain these. So poison is just going to be a simple damage over time, aka the dot. Restrain, I don't think I need to explain. Now how do we do bleed? Do we do bleed like FromSoft games does bleed, where you have a meter that builds up and it's not a problem until you take a bunch of damage? Or is bleed just a separate dot? It's like poison, but you'll deal with it differently. Ooh, poison might be different to bleed in that it grows over time and bleed ends over time. That is something that I was starting to think about. At least I was thinking about bleed ending over time, but not poison. That's a cool idea. So bleed will start more severe, but will get less severe over time. Poison might not start that severe, but it's gonna grow and grow and grow. That's a cool idea and simple. Okay. And you know what? Let's make a new line for bleed. We'll just have all these things be commas, separated by commas. Okay, so I don't remember what we were talking about for mutate. You cannot cause more than one bleed usually. Poison you meant. Okay, I was about to say, bro, you could have like 1 million cuts all over your body. That's an interesting idea. Like poison would be limited to 1, but bleed can be stacked. So for poison, let's say usually not stackable. And you know what? We should put that after dot, because damage over time is the most important thing. And then that it grows is secondary. And then, okay, the last thing is that it's usually not stackable. But there might be some rare situation where 2 different kinds of poisons might stack. So we'll say bleed is stackable. Let's put restrain down here. Now, what the hell were we going to do for mutate? That if certain creatures get hit by nature damage, they're gonna like change. This was like a week ago. How do I not? Mutate was just a concept. Yeah, I think the system is crazy enough that maybe we just revisit this idea as like a unique creatures effect. There are some weird cats in Baldur's Gate 3. They're probably just creatures from Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe Larian made them up. I don't think so. They're these weird cats that are like allergic to magic. And so if you cast magic on them, they like start having crazy reactions because you've hit them with magic, and now there's like a bunch of energy that's like bouncing around that they're like amplifying and can't control. And like sometimes they mutate into giant cats. Sometimes they like cast a bunch of spells that like make an illusion where it looks like there's like 5 of them. So yeah, I think that might just be something we revisit. Ooh, it might roll each turn for a random stat buff or debuff. That's an interesting idea. Having a creature that has like violent mutations. Okay, hold on. Let me put that in the cool note zone. Mutate. Okay. Yep, and then... Okay, all right, we're good. We're good. Okay, so we're gonna take mutate out of... Nope. We're gonna take mutate out of here. It's not gonna be a major keyword that you see reused in the spell system. And then you know what? Restrain, we will actually explain what you do because we have room and we explained what everything else does. Limit movement. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. So far our system is going to have so many fucking keywords. I think they'll mostly be understandable. Really, the only thing I'm worried about is that nature has so much going on. So maybe the idea with nature is that its spells won't be very powerful, but it will have all kinds of extra little things you can do to kind of fuck with an enemy. But yeah, maybe this is too many things. And again, bleed we'll probably see elsewhere. Madness we might see in the like psychic and radiant areas. Regen we'll probably see in the with water. Jack of all spores. Oh my god. Okay, so right, I made this note so I wouldn't forget. That can go away. Right, we were gonna have corrosion be where poisons are. But it probably makes sense for them to be in both areas. This is one of those situations like the Magic the Gathering flavor wheel, where 2 elements are thematically overlapping each other. Okay, so we had talked about having like a like radiation poisoning, which is interesting. It's frustrating with words that have similar origins, like radiation and radiant. Like it makes my brain want to be like, well, no, radiation has to be part of radiant because they're like the same word. Like they have similar roots, but CO2 is poison to humans, but grass needs it. Okay, that's an interesting concept. And I don't know how much we would be able to explore that, but just the idea that poisons come from different sources and are one creature's poison is another creature's essential functioning tool or something. I don't know. There's a much more poetic way to put that, but one crab's trash is another's treasure. So what do we want to do here? We have acid as a main keyword that's going to interact with other things. You're going to be able to spread acid. You might be able to amplify that acid. And it's going to weaken armor. But then the other aspect of corrosion that we had really talked about was radiation. And do we really just want that to, like, weaken the player? Well, it's a debuff. Like, it's just a stat-lowering debuff. And I suppose it should lessen over time, although, honestly, radiation seems like the kind of thing that, like, if you're going to recover from radiation poisoning, like, it's going to take a few days. So maybe within the context of a fight, ooh, maybe it lasts between fights. Ooh, shit, that seems too mean. That sounds cool, but that seems too mean. Waste debuff that stacks from corrosion. Like you're wasting away. Yeah, maybe calling it radiation isn't. And then calling it radiation poisoning gets confusing. Okay. All right. Maybe we do just call it, like, wasting. So maybe I would put, like, so that, like, the idea is that, like, it is radiation wasting, but we're going to call it wasting. I don't know. Ugh. Ooh, it could have a broader variation. So then what would we do with that, though? Would we have each of those different kinds of wasting lower different stats? I feel like maybe we just call it, like stat wasting. So, like, you could have a spell that causes strength wasting, and that would reduce their strength for a certain number of turns. Maybe the whole fight, honestly. And again, maybe, like, the way that nature has so many different kinds of debuffs, that means that nature spells won't be really powerful. They'll be able to do a lot of things a nature symbiote or a nature scribe would be able to do lots of things, but they won't have really powerful versions of anything. You think waste might be a main reactive thing? Waste plus water is acid. Waste plus fire applies fire. I don't know. That doesn't seem as strong to me conceptually as the other kinds of interactions. Like the way that if something's wet, getting chilled might freeze it. I don't know. Like, waste plus water might produce acid, but it would be, like, diluted. You know? I don't know. I like this being a kind of vague catch-all, and, like, this will really give corrosion its personality. That corrosion is about weakening, and that can be poison. We'll definitely have and actually, I don't need to redefine poison. Let's just put poison in caps. There will also be poisons, but the big thing about corrosion is that you're going to be wasting stats away. And shred, if we go with shred will always be resistances. And then stat wasting will be like shred is going to focus on, like, the quality of someone's armor and defenses, and then stat wasting will focus on their stats specifically, which can reduce their defenses to things, but might also make their strength lower or their dexterity lower. So there will be some kind of overlap. Wasted. Oh my god. That would be very funny if you could let the player die if they get, like, just 20 stacks of some kind of wasting. Like if your strength was reduced by 5% for every point of strength wasting you had, and then you get 20 of them, like your strength goes to 0, so then it's like haha, you're dead, you have 0 strength, you don't exist anymore, you're fucking dead, and then put wasted on the screen instead of like game over. That'd be a fun Easter egg. I don't ever expect that to happen, but you imagine waste as black ooze. Interesting. I imagine it as so many kinds of things. Like certainly like gross ooze creatures, but also like the act of watching something like melt or burn away. Definitely like people who have like a wasting disease, that they're like a shell of themselves. They're just like thin and weak and sad. Like all of those things come to mind when I think about wasting. And I think this is less of that last one. It's almost like we're achieving the last one, the being physically weaker, but not through like disease vectors, but through this like strange element that just is the nature of weakness and destruction, I suppose. Which is a cool idea. I really like that. I feel like it makes the world fantastical. Slender shadows cause waste? What the fuck? Like Slender Man? That kind of slender? Shit, do I have the cat cam on this thing? Dang, I need to add the cat cam. Oh, wait. It's in here. What the heck, cat cam? You're in here. Why aren't you visible? All right. Greg's being cute. I got a thing to fix after the stream. Let me make a note. Fix cat cam in Tuesday and Thursday scenes. All right. There's a creature in D&D called a shadow. Interesting. It's a creature that is naturally slender. And it just causes wasting? Cool. Or you're proposing that idea. Let's check this guy out. Bro, that's fucking creepy. I think in Baldur's Gate you fight some dudes that are just called shadows. In this like crazy cursed forest place. The shadow can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide without squeezing. Oh my god. What are humans up to? We have a fucking game where you have to decide whether you're squeezing or not. What a fucking crazy thing. Shadow stealth. While in dim light or darkness, the shadow can take the hide action as a bonus action. Cool. Sunlight weakness, of course. While in sunlight, the shadow has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. Cool. Oh, and of course, vulnerable to radiant. Sure. Cool. Read the action. Okay, strength drain. Melee weapon attack, +4 to hit, reach 5 feet. Oh my god, okay. 1 creature. It can hit for up to 9 damage. Necrotic damage, and the target's strength score is reduced by 1d4. The target dies if this reduces its strength to 0. Cool. Oh, damn. That's such a fun idea. I can't remember where I first heard about that idea of like if one of your stats is actually reduced to 0, it's like, no, you're dead. Like you need strength to continue to exist. You have none. You're fucking dead. Goodbye. Cool. Don't want to look at the picture. I just wanted to stop highlighting the text. Otherwise, the reduction lasts until the fight finishes until the target finishes a short or long rest. Okay, that's an interesting idea. And I definitely want to have some kind of resting mechanic in the game. And to have it be something that on a lower difficulty you can do like all the time without worrying. But then on a higher difficulty, or a difficulty where you're trying to complete certain actions in the game, you really need to worry about how often you long rest, which will add tension to needing to do well in battle. Because you can't just be passing time willy-nilly and expect the world to wait for you. if you're on a hard difficulty or trying to achieve a certain ending or something. Cool. Oh, if a non-evil humanoid dies from this attack, a new shadow rises from the corpse 1d4 hours later. Fucking cool. Cool. Okay, so I think we might just stick with stat wasting. But you know what? No, we need other stuff. We need other things that might be in here. What might be in here for corrosion? You could maybe expect to see bleed, but I don't think so. Shred, I really want to be specifically about like wind based, because you're always shredding the element that you're spreading. If you have the shred capability, it's always going to be along with you spreading something. Many things will spread but not shred. If anything shreds, it's through the same avenue as spreading. It feels like corrosion needs more, but again, we can just balance it by having corrosion attacks being strong. Shadow is CR 1/2. Means you can throw a bunch of them on the first level party. Yeah, what does the CR actually stand for? Like creature rating? They're like weak. They're low level. I inherited mechanics of a system which is TP killer. Wait, what now, Durg? You what now? I'm gonna start thinking about psychic. That's challenge rating. Okay. Oh, total party kill. Okay. I see. TPK is total party kill. All right. It's poorly balanced. You're saying the shadows themselves are poorly balanced because of their low rating, but they're still capable of killing a party. That's interesting. Why? Obviously, this is the wrong way to look at it, but I feel like Dungeons and Dragons is so old. By now, it should be perfectly balanced. It's completely not true. It's a shit hot take, but D&D CR system is poorly balanced. Damn, that's brutal. Well, maybe when they make 6th edition or 7th edition or whatever, they can balance it, but then they'll probably also ruin a bunch of other things. And then people will try to combine what they like from each system, and then they'll make a new version of D&D officially that does that. And then people will still argue. 6th edition is incoming. Oh no. It's gonna have a bunch of fucking AI art. I can feel it. They got caught already. They fucking lied and they got caught. And then they said they would not do AI art anymore. But like you already fucking said you wouldn't, and then you did. Fuck. And so many people made a good point. So yeah, just to be clear, Wizards of the Coast has been caught. They make Dungeons and Dragons. They've been caught using AI art after they said they wouldn't. Like, you could just hire an artist to clean up the AI art. To clean up the weird looking hands and the belt buckle that doesn't actually go into the belt right. Like, and they just fucking didn't. Just fucking come on. At least like you could avoid backlash. You could still employ artists, which is like it is probably a good thing to do to help them transition. Like, at some point in the future, there will be fewer artists and more people who just control AI art makers. There'll be like AI prompt engineers, I think is the fucking term, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, sure. Psychic. Ooh, sleep, hypnosis, fear, and charm. Oh, and disorient, of course. Okay. So sleep is classic. Ooh, illusion. And a bunch of these will overlap with other elements, and that's totally fine. Okay. Let's start with sleep. No actions can break if attacked. That's fucking classic thing. If your character's put to sleep and somebody attacks them, they'll wake up. It's really fucking funny in Baldur's Gate. It's Dungeons and Dragons based. One of the things you can do as a bonus action is shove. And so like a lot of characters, you don't really have a lot you can do with a bonus action. Like you can drink a potion if you need to. You can do some other little things. Powerful characters, as they get further on, can do some actions as a bonus action, and that can be really useful. But a lot of the time, your bonus action is just like a little tiny thing. If you put enemies to sleep, a lot of times another NPC will like come over to them and fucking shove them, and it wakes them up. It's fucking funny because sometimes it's like a big dude shoving a little guy, and the little guy goes flying, and then they do wake up, so they get to like not miss their turn from being asleep. But like, holy shit, it's fucking funny. Ooh, buffs too. True Sight is a cool idea. We might have to get rid of some of these. This is a lot of cool shit. True Sight, concentration. What other buffs might we get? We honestly could have like mage armor. This might be the only source, or a limited, like maybe psychic and radiant can make armor, temporary armor that defends against magic attacks. Because so far, the two kinds of armor buffs we have, like innate armor buffs, keywords, is frost armor and spike armor, and those really feel like they're like physical defenses. Or at the very least would be one of the three elements. The discordant, concordant, or phasing. Maybe psychic and radiant might be where you get your phasing armor. I don't know. But yeah, maybe instead of concentration, focus is shorter, and it kind of gets at the same idea. It's gonna like resist you getting interrupted. And I'm not really sure how I want to do that. Like as far as spells, your chance to hit, it'll probably be a lot like Dungeons and Dragons, where you're kind of just rolling based on a certain stat, depending on what you're trying to do. And unlike Pokemon, where an attack just has an accuracy, I think we'll have your character's stats and maybe also the attack determine your accuracy. Oh, and of course the opponent too. It's your stats versus your opponent's stats. If you're trying to hit an enemy with an arrow from your bow, how good are you at shooting your arrow out of your bow? How good is the enemy at dodging it or seeing it coming? And then maybe also what kind of bow are you using? What kind of arrow? Is it good for the distance you're trying to go? So maybe the attack itself would have some built-in effect on the accuracy of your ability. Focus might just lose stacks with mental effects incoming. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Like if you have focus, maybe that would like let's say you're focused and you get stunned from an electric shock buildup. Maybe instead of losing your turn, instead you just lose focus. So like focus might be a temporary buff that you give yourself that's going to help you ignore other stat effects. I think that's pretty cool. Still mind. Like calming yourself. Now, wouldn't that just be a different term for focus? Maybe we would have a specific ability called Still Mind, and that gives the target focus. Greg is licking and nibbling on my finger. Hey, that's not a nibble, Greg. That was rude. That was a hard bite. Don't be like that. We're friends, Greg. We're friends. Do you understand? I don't think she understands. Oh, you mean hyper focus? Like if you overstacked focus. Okay. Well, so then what would be the consequence of that? Because it sounds bad. Like, it sounds like, there's an episode of King of the Hill where the child main character, Bobby, gets put on Ritalin because they think he has ADHD. And instead of being an energetic weirdo all the time, he's just like, he counts the grooves on like a poker chip or something over and over. Like, are we talking about some kind of negative thing like that? Like, you become absolutely immune to any mental effect. Ooh, okay. So like, so not overstacked like negative, overstacked like you stack so much focus that it becomes hyper focus, not focus. Is that worth? Like, yeah, I feel like we should view this as like every new status we add is kind of an extra cost to someone understanding the game. Is that worth it? Or do we just let you stack focus and then and then if you have enough of them, you can resist all the mental effects. I don't know if it's worth having the extra like burden of a whole different like status type, a different keyword. Okay, so I guess really hypnosis causes sleep, right? And then, ooh, actually, I mean, that's Pokemon. That's Pokemon. You got blinded by Pokemon. Hypnosis is all kinds of other stuff. Hypnosis is like getting characters to do things, which really, I guess, leads into charm or into fear. So I think we can kind of have hypnosis not be a keyword and have these other ones do the heavy lifting. Okay, so then fear is gonna be like no action but move. If a character's feared, they're just gonna like run. And specifically, they're gonna move away. I hate World of Warcraft has, at least it used to be, if you fear an enemy, they move randomly. But like that's not really what you would do if you were afraid. You would fucking run in a direction away from the thing. You wouldn't run away from the thing and then maybe back toward the thing a little bit. Like, no. You would run away from the thing. And if you were smart, you'd run away from the thing, like towards some fucking allies. And that, yeah, maybe I could work that in. That becomes much more complicated. It would be really easy to get a vector of like, where is the thing that made me scared of it? Where am I? Okay, I want to go away from the thing that made me scared. Just essentially reverse the vector. He's south of me, I go north. He's southeast of me, I go northwest. That is not that hard. That's just some simple fucking math. But having them try to find an ally, well, I'm building behavior trees, so we might already have something like that. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll keep it in my back pocket. So next is charm. So charm, you'll just control the actions of a character. If you've charmed them, you'll just control their actions. Ooh, let's see, is that what I want to do? Because then I have to make every single character controllable, even if they're like a weird, maybe they just won't harm you. I don't know. Am I? Not currently, but I will be. It is a thing I'm regularly doing and will continually be working toward. The behavior tree specifically. How do we handle charm? You could just make bosses immune to charm. So that way you don't have to worry about the player controlling a boss. But if I want a character to be charmed, then I have to let the player like take it over and control it. And so then I would have to have the ability to like temporarily add them to the team for the sake of like the game, the flow of the game and the flow of turn order. Maybe they just become an ally. They just become like an allied NPC. That makes it easier for now. I don't have to do that. Well, I guess what I was thinking is like if I had attacks that enemies have. It's like a third-party fighter. Okay, sure. So yeah, we came to the same conclusion, essentially. Just make them an allied NPC. Don't make the player, control them. And I think that'll work fine. It would make Charm less powerful. Oh my god, especially if you could like mind control someone and then like have them jump off a cliff. That's shit, I swear that's a thing you can do in World of Warcraft. You can like mind control somebody for a short period and just fucking chuck them off a cliff. Maybe I'm misremembering. A command spell. Yeah, but I don't think we need to do that, you know? It's too complicated. Damn, in D&D it's a first level cleric spell? I assume it's pretty fucking hard to command like an intelligent creature. You'd need to be like very powerful. Or get very lucky, I suppose. Okay, so disorient. What would that do? What do we want to do with disorient? Like do we have them lose track of their target? Do we have them like just unable to do anything for a turn? Essentially just a different version of like freezing them. You get to give them a one-word command like run, jump, or sing. That's cool. Ooh, disorient makes them target something random other than themselves. Ooh. Ooh. Stun is fucking nuts. Never stun the player. It does fucking suck to get stunned in Dungeons and Dragons. In Baldur's Gate. Like, it's your whole turn. It's your whole fucking turn. You're just like, well, I don't get to do shit. I think there's less of a blow because you have a whole team. So it's not like you got to do nothing as a team. It takes agency away. Yeah. I think I still want it to be possible, but I definitely want to do the thing that Sea of Stars does, where enemies will have. Let's find a good image. Sure, show me the nope. I'm not in Chrome, but you do natively have it. Okay, great, cool. So this enemy is gonna do some crazy strong attack unless you hit it with 3 moon element things and a slashing element thing. A situation like that, I feel like it's more okay to have the player get stunned. If they choose to let themselves get stunned because they either weren't cautious or they're going to choose to do something else and not stop the big strong attack, then it's like they do still have some level of agency and they're kind of choosing to let it happen. I do like disorient. Just attack a random target. Actually, we should just say target. Because it might be a buff. They might go to like heal their friend and they're disoriented, so they heal you. Or they heal the wrong person. They heal their other friend who's at full health. Illusion is interesting. So D&D. I shouldn't say that. I should say Baldur's Gate because my only experience with Dungeons and Dragons, minus reading things that are shared with me in chat, or things I look up rarely, is Baldur's Gate. In Baldur's Gate, there's a cool illusion spell that like surrounds you with illusions and it makes you harder to hit. So yeah, illusion is kind of, it's not just one thing. So yeah, false copies, definitely one of the ideas. But then also like potentially making a false copy of yourself far away that the enemies might target instead. Ooh, and especially if I want to make a relatively intelligent AI system. One of my favorite things that I felt got close to programming like an intelligent system was Dragon Age Origins. You have a party of 4 and you control one character at a time, and what you can do is you can add all these rules outside of combat. You can add all these rules onto your characters, like, okay, heal anybody whose health gets below 10% with a potion, or when this thing happens, use this ability, or when this thing and this thing happens, use this ability. So it's just like very simple programming, but you could just stack all these things on top of each other. And like, I made my characters pretty fucking smart. It was fucking sweet. So I like the idea, long story short, I like the idea of opponents that are like afraid of something. Like if they're weak to fire and you could make an illusion of like a fire dragon, then they would target that thing because they're like, oh, holy shit, there's a thing we're weak to that is scary is here. So I think that's what I'm leaning toward for illusions, to make things that opponents would target instead of you. And we could even make the false copies that surround you kind of work the same way. I don't know. You remember an artifact you made for your party. Basically, it's a deck that allows you to take a random card and change your appearance once an hour. Oh my god. You can actually spend it throwing it in the air. Wait, what? You can throw the deck in the air. And then, but then what would that do? Would it change everyone around everyone in the area's appearance for an hour? Also, shit, you'd have to like collect the cards. That would be annoying. Teleports everyone in 60 feet, changing their places and randomly shuffling their appearance for an hour. Oh my god. That's fucking chaos, bro. Holy shit. Everybody you did that to, it spends the whole deck. Okay, so every time you would use a card, the card would disappear. So if you use the whole deck, it would just go crazy and consume itself and then just constantly change everyone's appearances. Oh my god, dude. If you did that to me, I'd be so pissed at you. I'd be like, once I know which one of you fuckers is actually the one that did this, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. You have 1 hour. Okay, you use it and it doesn't disappear. Okay, so then does it have some kind of cooldown or something? It better have some kind of cooldown. That just seems too chaotic to not have some kind of limiting factor. Also, you said disappear. It's fun. You're letting the worm aspect of you out. Once an hour? Wait, it lasts for an hour and the cooldown is once an hour? That's insane. That's insane, Dirk. Okay, for a card pull. But what about if you throw the whole deck in the air? Oh my god. Okay, this is a tangent. I do need to know, though. Oh, this might be too many things. Might be too many things. We might want to take illusion and let it live in radiance. Oh my god, also, this fucking table is just a behemoth now. Okay, hold on. We're gonna need some fucking space, bro. All right. Cool. Now we at least have the room to keep moving it down. For the throw, it's once in a lifetime. Okay. Okay. And it will reappear in the hands of a random character in the world. All right, so it does get, like, spent, but in a strange way. Oh my god, dude. Imagine if you got that deck of cards. You're just like some merchant like traveling down the road and you get a deck of cards and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this thing? And then you just turn into some different fucking person. And then you're panicking for like an hour and then it goes away. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm back to normal again. Sweet. Oh my god, dude. That would ruin people's lives. You're a monster, Turk. You should include the first card should be instructions. That explains what's gonna happen. Like, hey dog, don't draw another fucking card. Read this, please. Be careful. Thank you. Okay, so True Sight. Obviously, you'd see past illusions, but it's got to do something else. Like maybe you see past obstacles too. So like if you have True Sight and you're a good archer, you could like shoot an arrow up and over a rock and hit a target. I don't know if that's enough. Like maybe it should just give you better accuracy as well. Seeing past obstacles for certain spells seems pretty cool. For like any spell that's like thrown, like if you threw a ball of fire or shot an arrow, throw a like an elixir that's gonna explode. Yeah, that seems all right. This shit exists in Destiny and it's fucking broken. They have had to limit the weapons and items that give you this ability to just see where your opponents are through walls, like in competitive PvP. It's fucking crazy to let people do that. You also had another item for this campaign. It was a magic wand made of salt. A cool wand with like a tangle by salt and stuff. Wait, hold on. And tangle. I don't know. I need that sentence reconstructed. If you crack it over your knee and throw it in the water, entangle. Okay. Entangled by salt. If you crack it over your knee and throw it in the water, it will erupt into a massive salt tower / castle. That's fucking fun. I love weird magic shit like that. That's like really powerful, but like bizarrely specific. And then like, I guess if you really need a portable tower, emergency tower castle thing, they're like, boom, you got it, buddy. I feel like Adventure Time has a lot of stuff like that, just like weirdly powerful, bizarrely specific things. It's fucking fun. It also makes you really feel like holy shit, who made this? Like, who is smart enough to make this thing, and why did they make it so powerful but so weirdly specific? So strange. I'm not sure about True Sight. We might have to tweak that. It is a cool idea though. Ooh, and it might give you like damage resist to certain spells. Like certainly if you had True Sight, it would be harder for people to charm you or make you afraid. Okay, True Sight's gonna be up in the air for a bit. And then Focus, I think you would just be more likely to succeed at most things. And you would also like resist. You'd resist like all the psychic statuses. So So like kind of same thing with True Sight. Like your focus would make it harder to disorient you, harder to charm you, harder to make you afraid, harder to put you to sleep. I don't know about illusions. I feel like the idea of an illusion is that even if you're really focused on the illusion, you can't tell it's an illusion. And then there might be spells that you're channeling was the term in World of Warcraft, where you're doing something over time and it can be interrupted. And so if you were focused, you would be more capable of resisting that. And then mage armor would just be like magic damage resist. And so then maybe specific schools, but maybe only for phasing. Or maybe only special damage. Right, because then if we go back to this situation, you can, of course, have an attack of almost any element, and it can be either physical or special. And so mage armor might protect you from the special version, and then the earth armor, the spike armor, or the ice frost armor would protect you from the physical attacks. I'll have to hammer that out. I feel like that's something I can decide on later as I'm actually encoding it, putting it into the game. And then, like, obviously I'm going to make many wrong decisions, and certain things are going to be, like, brokenly powerful. Kind of like, oh my god, what's the spell? There's a spell in The Witcher. I think it's called Quen. It's like Quen. That is just like a shield. And like it's just so good. It's so good at number 2 and number 3. Like, you just always fucking needed to have it on. Like, other magic was nowhere near as worthwhile as it. Like, other magic was fun. Like, oh, I'll throw some fire at you, but like, oh my god, the shield, especially on hard difficulties, is like, you just fucking needed it. And then when your shield broke, you would like roll away from any combat and just like fucking run until you could put your shield back on, because holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, so amplify is just like, amplify is just amplify. Do we want it? Do we want amplify to increase secondary effects? Could amplify be the only thing that interacts with all of these effects? Because again, the specific idea is everything in this column are primary statuses that will very likely interact with each other. And then these things over here are secondary, and they might interact with one thing, but for the most part, they are kind of their own separate thing. They're not part of this big interactive community of effects, the way that fire would interact with ice, or that water would interact with ice, or get spread by the wind. It's an interesting idea to have amplify increase certain secondary effects. So we're going to put a question mark at the end of this. So maybe amp increases the stacks of certain secondary effects. Like frost armor or sleep. That honestly, oh my god, that just seems like it's going to be too powerful. Again, we could balance it by having amplify spells be like very expensive. Like, you want to do an amplify spell? Fine, that's going to be your whole turn, buddy. But for force, it might actually also be like pull. Ooh. Good point. You know what? Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah. Yeah, push and pull. And then also, I guess, like, crush. Maybe we could just say, like, for pull, you could pull toward or down. 'Cause what I'm thinking is, like, if a person is flying, a force spell might let you pull them down. Ooh. A magical counterattack. Hell yeah, Durg. So fun story. Within the world of Magic the Gathering, blue is the color of like counter spells. And a counter spell is basically just like the moment a player plays anything, pretty much anything, you could be like, actually, no, I use my counter spell. You don't do that. It's just destroyed. Goodbye. You paid for it. You don't get it. Haha. You spent 20 mana on this giant monster. I spend 2 mana on my stupid counter spell, and you don't get to do your thing. I made a deck just focused around counter spells, and eventually my friends were like, we just won't play you. You want to play Magic? Don't use that deck. So I had to deconstruct it because it was very good. It was very rude though. And we occasionally played multiplayer format, and it could not function in a multiplayer format. It was all about having single counters to your opponent's abilities. But once you're trying to deal with like multiple opponents, like I didn't have a good defense to build up. Fun though, fun shit. But that's a good idea. Having certain kinds of magical counterattacks, being able to predict ahead of time that you're going to get hit by an element and like buffing yourself with a hidden counter is really fucking cool. Similar to like Pokemon abilities, that's like this attack, like I think there's one called Punish, that like its power doubles if the opponent attacks you first. It's fucking good. Ooh, auras. But yeah, good point. Auras definitely feels like it fits more in Radiant. So I honestly feel like we should take some things from Psychic and put it in Radiant. And have those things be unique to Radiant, potentially. Like I think like maybe Illusion and True Sight should both be in the realm of Radiant and Radiant only. Like I do see how conceptually, if you were a very powerful psychic, you could trick lots of people into thinking that there is a fire dragon around when there really isn't. But I feel like it's more appropriate for it to be an illusion. And yeah, we should, the reason I got here was because I want to add aura. And just to be clear, auras are like things with an area of effect. Like surrounding you, doing something where you have an effect surrounding you. Which might be a special focus of Radiance. And that is not to say that maybe other abilities, like other elements, maybe there's like an ice spell where you could surround yourself with like a little like a whirling storm of ice or something. But it might not specifically be called an aura. An aura might be like some kind of buff that is applied to you and everyone around you or something like that. A smelly natural aura. Oh my god. That would be a really interesting nature spell. Like if there's a creature that functions on smell, you like make yourself extra smelly so like they can only smell you, or you make like everybody around you smelly so like the beast doesn't know who to attack. He can't figure out who's who anymore. He can't just target like one person until they're defeated, or go for the one that smells the weakest. Like, oh, you smell wounded, I'm gonna go after you. Like, nope, now everybody's so stinky. Stench indeed. Okay, that's a cool idea, but and maybe would be something fun to do for like a unique, like one-off situation, like a single boss or something. But I don't think it would be necessary to be part of this system. And I think really we're gonna have to trim this system down. Nature is probably gonna have some stuff removed from it. Everything up here is relatively tight. And then we get down here and it's like, oh no, nature, you got so many things going on. Oh no, psychic, you've got so many things going on. Oof. But on that note, What would we do? I feel like sound. I don't know. What? Resonance is a cool idea. I do like the idea, the glass, the thing we read about from Cassette Beasts. Where was that? It was something in glass. Shoot. No, it's when you attack glass. Yeah, it would get resonance, and if you get enough resonance, you shatter. That's cool. Ooh, and then the debuff of shattered, like leaving glass shards on the ground. That's a cool idea too, but I think if we did something with that, it would be with ice. If you shattered a frozen enemy, they might leave shards on the ground. But I don't think that would be like a secondary ability thing. That might be something special, like a piece of armor does or something. Thunder, reverberated, and silence. Ooh, yeah, silence definitely. I don't know if scream needs to be a secondary keyword. Oh my god, hum. Yeah, do we want to put like bard buffs in here? That's always been a kind of silly but fun thing about D&D, that like somebody could play a song for you and you're like, "Oh, I'm just faster and stronger now." Alarming is interesting. Huh, okay, so I don't know if that needs to be a, I don't know if that needs to be a keyword that goes in this column, but definitely having enemies that could like a creature that could scream and like let out a cry and let its nearby fellow, like a wolf, might like let out a cry to let a bunch of other wolves know, like, "Hey, I'm in trouble, come help me." Oh my god, Greg, you are so cute right now. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna go figure out what's up with Cat Cam. What's your deal, Cat Cam? Okay, so this does indeed show up on you. And yet you're not working. Hold on, I'm coming out of studio mode. You're not working over here. Oh, no, duh. You had one thing. You had one thing off. You had one thing in the wrong spot. You fool. Here we go. Here's Greg. Okay, well now she's not being cute. She's just covering her head. I need to get a better angle for the cat cam. Honestly, the perfect angle is right where my face cam is. Maybe like move the face cam over a tiny bit. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. Oh, interesting. Marking someone with hum. Interesting. And they would vibrate. Okay, the idea of attuned creatures passing sound damage along through each other is a really interesting idea. That sounds like something that, like, even though thematically, like it's not really grounded in reality, that's fucking cool. It kind of reminds me of, it's a little bit similar to the idea up here that I absolutely stole from Destiny, which is that if you build up enough flame stacks onto creatures, then you can cause one of them to explode and spread flame to the surrounding ones. And if they already had enough flame on them, they too will explode, and it just goes in like a crazy chain and does tons of fucking damage. And also, if you could have armor on or a class talent where you get something whenever you do that. Like, oh, it's, ooh. Destiny has such good, like, reinforcement loops like that. Or like, you get a weapon where every time you get a headshot, it reloads really quickly and it gets bonus damage. And then your character talent tree, you get like a special buff where your grenades regenerate faster when you get a headshot. And you just like add all those things together and you're like, hell yeah, dude, I get a headshot and like all these amazing things happen. Oh, it's fucking sweet. It's so fucking good. Fire creatures might have a terrific buff if they explode. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I definitely want to explore more about like what happens if you if you put fire on like a fire elemental. Like it's probably bad. And actually, we could solve it by making them heal from fire damage, because then the explosion would be a bunch of fire damage, and they'd be like, "Oh, thanks, you just like healed me." And also, I exploded and healed all of my other fire elemental buddies around me. That would be an easy way to solve it. Maybe not the coolest way, though. Maybe not the coolest way. Okay, so resonating, I was thinking of just building up damage, that the more you did attacks that resonated, the more damage you would do. But the idea of chaining it is really fucking cool. And now it is a little bit weird to include silence in here, because silence is like the lack. Now Greg's being cute. Hey, Greg. Can I scratch you? Can I scratch your chin? Oh, hell yeah. Silence is the lack of sound. What about Inferno? That could like be our term for like a fire elemental exploding. Oh my god, like it could make a physical, like a firestorm. Oh my god. As hyper flame. As in, you stack flame enough and you end up with Inferno. I don't know. I think it's simple enough to just have it be stacks of flame. But I do like the idea of having like fire elemental creatures that have unique effects. If you hit them with fire damage. That sounds fucking cool. Hitting a big fire elemental and making him make like a fucking firestorm is fucking sweet. But anyway, we could keep silence in here. And then the idea would be like you're using your knowledge of the sound element to like physically prevent sound from being sent out. So like you could silence a mage from casting spells by stopping them from talking. But this idea would be they're still talking, but like sound is not coming out, I guess. You can suppress sound with sound. Okay, that is an interesting idea. I think that locks it in. Like the exact opposite wave. Ooh, also echo. Okay, how would... Greg? Fucking cat. What would we do with echoing? Echoing is cool. To me, echo sounds like it would like repeat the same attack. Like either this attack is sound element and it's going to hit once on this turn and then it's going to hit next turn for a little less and then next turn for a little less. Or what if we're echoing other like other attacks? Echo might just deal damage each time sound damage is dealt. That's a cool idea. Okay, so repeat an attack each turn or deal damage when sound damage is dealt. That's kind of cool. So you're just like piling on. I think both of those fit the thematic idea. Ooh, like not just when the target is hit, but when anything nearby is hit. I think a lot of sound attacks are going to be area of effect, and not a lot of them are going to be precision. That's an interesting idea though. Or when damage, or when sound damage is dealt nearby. This seems like a really cool thing to use with the Sea of Stars, like the lock mechanic. You might see a situation that's like, that seems hopeless, but actually you could use Echo to do lots of sound damage all around and break a bunch of sound locks. It's a cool idea. That might be a little complicated and it might be difficult to balance. At the very least, we could have attacks that repeat each turn. And this is almost like doing damage when other sound damage is done is almost feeling like resonance. So really, I feel like we're kind of getting back at this idea. Imagine an amplified echo. Ooh. Okay, yeah, that seems kind of unfair. We'd have to come up with some serious limitations to it. I mean, I guess the main idea would be that amplified is gonna work with the main statuses, not the secondary ones. But I don't know. Could we could consider changing sound, because sound art and psychic already both have confuse as their thing, that as their primary element. I don't know. Echo is territorial, resonance is not. Yeah, that could be a way to do it. That echo is like area of effect. Resonance is when the thing is targeted itself. All right. We'll keep that idea in mind. Every creature with the same amount of resonance is in one wave. Okay, wait, what does that mean? God, do we change this? No, because I don't see how resonate would interact with other things. Or echo. Oh, that it's chained? Okay, so they would still chain, but not with how close they are together, but if they have the same number of like resonance stacks. Oh, that's such a cool idea. Oh, I don't know how I would make that fair, but that seems so fucking cool. Oh, shit. Oh, damn. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna... Oh, we're gonna note that. Damage increase or chain based on number of stacks. Damn, that's a cool idea. Ooh, but it's hard to keep resonance up. So maybe if your team went really hard in one turn, you could build up some good resonance and maybe have it last into the next turn, but it would be really hard to keep it built up. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Definitely one of the obvious levers we could use to balance it is how easy it is to apply, how long it lasts, exactly how powerful it is. Honestly, okay, I kind of think I want Resonate to be the main mechanic. It would be really interesting if we let Resonate spread other statuses. If you could get two enemies resonating together and then like spread And then so let's say you have two enemies who have like a resonate stack of ×3. What if that meant if you put acid on one of them, you're gonna spread 3 stacks of acid to the other one? Like a weird way of like interlinking them. I really want to explore this. This is a really cool idea. You might like have an attack that applies 1 resonance or 2 resonance. Yeah, then the question is, do we have it decay by like 2 stacks at the end of every turn? Or do we just have it fully go away? So the idea is like you have 1 whole turn to get this system built up. Because what I was thinking is that like if Y2, well, just to have it decay faster so that it would be, because a lot of things, I think the typical setup is going to be, it's going to decay by 1 stack per turn. Like, I think that's how flame is going to be. That's how shock is going to be. That's going to be like the default situation. And so then maybe part of what would make resonance hard to deal with is that it decays faster. Maybe even like a large amount per turn. Like 4 or something. But I don't know. I think maybe having it end at the end of a turn is a really unique thing. So you would have to like set it up and capitalize on it in 1 turn. And so then it could be very powerful, but very limited. Ooh. Oh man, I wish I just already had the engine built and I could just fucking set it up. Random decay. Ooh. Unpredictable, but you can adjust it. Oh. That is cool. It's cool. And the idea of having like armor or like a talent tree that a character could invest into to make the decay less random, make it more predictable, or make it fully predictable. Ooh. I think that might be annoying though. I don't know. Ooh. Okay, I'm sure that I want this. So this is gonna be the explanation of resonate now. Maybe RSNT would be the shortening. Damn. Fully predictable on self or around? Ooh, I would think you could make your spells more predictable. You could make your resonant spells that you cast, whether on yourself or more likely on your opponents, they would decay at a reliable rate if you had maybe the right kind of armor or the right points spent in a talent tree or something. Okay, we definitely need to explore this idea more. I think it's a really interesting, it's essentially like an interesting variation of spread, potentially. A way that's like linking things together, but taking away distance. Will you track resonance for its sources, though? Yeah, that's a good point. You would have to if you wanted to do something like that. And that does sound like a pain in the butt. And then also the player would have to either keep track of that in their head or have a way to see it tracked. Also sounds like a pain in the butt. We've got to maximize like the puzzly funness of this and minimize the complicatedness. It's actually a big thing for world building. Let's introduce fantasy radio. Oh my god. Okay, that is a fun idea. So yes, absolutely. But that also sounds scary and dangerous. That sounds like a thing that people will be like, no, sound is like fucking... People attack you with sound. Don't listen to the radio. They could attack you through the radio. But fantasy radio sounds very cute. Like the way that there's a radio in Fallout. It sounds cute to have like an Adventure Time kind of world with like a radio host that's like, welcome back to fantasy radio. Do you need a heal? Just fucking here, we're gonna send out some resonance. Get the stand in front of the radio and get your resonant buff, and then we're gonna cast a heal, and it's gonna chain through everybody who's listening to this right now. Oh damn. Magic. Magic through radio. Resonate big Stonehenge stones in the same time by the same amount to speak with friends far away. Oh, that's a fun idea. Like they would have the same frequency, like become like interlinked in some kind of way. That's a cool idea. I don't know if we would. Well, no, we could. That would actually be a sweet excuse. For okay, yeah, let's put it in the cool ideas thing. It's always nice to have grounded, magical explanations to replace technology. A sound elemental is like a traveling voice. Maybe like a bit of everything. Like they're just a bunch of sounds that have like become trapped in a weird pseudo living being. And then they would attack you with all sorts of sounds. Whale signals. Ooh, cracking ice. Yeah, that's a cool idea too. So yeah, we probably want sound to interact with chill, or more specifically frozen. Ooh, damn. Okay. Okay, so we're definitely going to stick with resonate as this being the main thing that sound does. And then I am about out of time, so next time we'll start working on this, where we will take we're going to take all of these, and then just like this, we're going to set up a type chart, but instead it's going to be the statuses. Because the idea is that these elements cause the statuses. The statuses are the physical side effects or the physical representations of an element. And then they will all interact in some kind of way. Shit. Okay, is there any last thing I want to do here? I feel like we're not done with this. Obviously, we're still not sure about how Resonate's going to work exactly. We didn't really look at Radiant, and we didn't finish Aura. So auras are just generally going to be like buffs or debuffs that affect the area around you. So while you might be able to get you might be able to buff your party with other elements, Radiant will have all sorts of buffs for your party, potentially. Aura is just self-spread. Yeah, it'll always be around you. I mean, unless if you could put an aura onto somebody, I think that would be reasonable too. Like you could target one of your allies with an aura, and then anybody around them gets whatever the benefit of this aura is. And I think most of them should be self-focused. So like most target self. Actually, how should we say that? Most are self-targeted. But we'll have some, and maybe like higher level versions. Like when you get up into higher levels, you can put the aura onto somebody else rather than just yourself. But it is kind of cool to imagine somebody who has, like if you, the player, are trying to take the most advantage of Radiant, you would want to be able to have like a melee attacker who has some kind of aura that buffs your like melee damage, that maybe that protects you or gives you more health. And then you would want your melee attackers to all be around that guy, that person who has the aura. But then that means you're more susceptible to like AoE attacks. So then it's up to you as the player to know what kind of attacks the enemy's gonna do. Maybe you refer to your in-game bestiary that will note when you see enemies do certain attacks. Then from then on, you know in the bestiary, when you look it up, you'll see like, oh shit, yeah, that guy does like a giant AoE fire attack. If we put an aura on, we need like fire resist because he's totally gonna use a giant fire attack to try and hit all of us. But yeah, I think for the most part, they'll be self-targeted for sure. Spotlight status. Now, what does that mean? As in, like, one of the things that Radiant will do. Oh, okay. For like an effective way of delegating action points, like the idea is you're putting the spotlight on them and you're like donating your action points to them. So I think even separately, the idea could be like you're taking your energy and you're like putting it into them. Okay, so an action point transfer is an interesting idea. I don't know if we need it to be a keyword. I don't know if it'll be that common. You're brainstorming, spitballing, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's all good. Okay, so actually I'm going to put that... Ooh, we need a... Okay, I need a spot where I'm just like describing each of these. So, okay, so you know what? Let's leave that in... well, hold on. No. Okay, what we're going to do here... We're gonna... Shit. Not like that. Not like that. Okay, so hold on. Shit. Oh, no. I want another column. What I'm trying to get at is I want another column where I explain what this is. Oh my god, I've ruined everything. About a Google Sheet? Well, yeah, I was thinking for now I would make the note in a Google Sheet. But it would be nice to just have this here. Okay. So yeah, you know what? We'll do that in the future. I'm going to put it at the bottom of my cool stuff notes. And actually, we'll just find a section inside the like wiki that I'm making. Add like elemental backgrounds and flavor and theme. Like the fact that Radiant magic will often allow for action point transfer. Okay, cool. Can I just send you the plain text from this sheet? Yeah, sure. I'll try to figure out, I can probably just paste it to you in Discord. That might look really ugly though. I'll do it right after the stream, which will be over quite soon. Okay, so let me just fucking get this back to not being an insane size. I'd make you smaller than you. I appreciate you, Miro, but this was a bit crazy. All right, and so then now, okay, great. We still have the room. Okay, cool, fine. It doesn't look great. Things got weird. Oh, can I just hold on? Can I just like undo? Great. All right. Damage undone. Sweet. Okay, so I think that's like good enough for now. We were probably going to have to axe some of these things. Psychic's got too many things going on. Nature's got too many secondary keywords going on. Everything else having like 2 or 3. Totally fine. Don't bother with the formatting. You'll try to make good stuff with like dictionary of statuses and automatically adding it to the intersection table. All right. If you want to, Durg, I'm not gonna stop you, but don't feel required. That can definitely be something that we can do on stream. And yeah, so next time we're gonna work on this. Hopefully we'll get this all outlined. And then my plan is after that, once we have like the elemental backbone of the world, we're gonna kind of work on like ancient history. We gotta have like cool societies that have bickered in the past and where that leads us to currently, and then also gods. Mostly they will be demigods. My envisioning for the like pantheon of this world is that there are actual gods, but those gods are unkillable, and they're like forces of nature. They're fundamental forces of reality. They have wants and needs and an existence, but they are bound by their element in a lot of ways, and they're not like they're not jealous or angry, or they don't bicker the same way that the demigods will, and the demigods will be they'll be like the Greek gods, where they are champions of elements, or maybe multiple elements, but like like some of them are shitty people. They're just people with power, and they live a long time, so maybe they have some intelligence, but they're still assholes sometimes. And so then at the beginning of this story, their absence, they will be absent. They will have disappeared for reasons the player will find out. And some people will be like, that's good. It's good they're gone. And other people will be like, no, it's bad. It's bad they're gone. We need to bring them back. It'll be a fun disagreement kind of a thing. You follow kind of a geographical world building, like a YouTube channel or something? Do I want like a 20-hour guide playlist from a gal that had an academic knowledge of geography? Sure, send me the link. It might be too much, but that sounds super fucking interesting. Okay, so we achieved less than I wanted, but it was a good time, so I'm fine with it. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for the help, Durg, especially. Lurkers, also, thanks for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow playing Hollow Knight. My arms feel pretty good, so I'm pretty confident I'll be in there. Oh my god, like starting from lithospheric plates, glaciation. Okay, totally, yes, I would like this information because I'm a fucking nerd and it sounds cool. I don't know how much of it I'm gonna be able to put into the background of my story. We've got a while. We've got a while of me just like trying to learn coding, but eventually, as I get better and better with coding, I need a certain amount of the story done so that I can start like actually making the game and not have to make giant changes. Is all the Earth like geographical development? Cool. Okay, yeah, definitely. I definitely want to know about that shit. That sounds fucking cool. And I will, right when I end the stream, I'll paste this information to you. And hopefully it won't look absolutely terrible. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So anyway, thank you for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a nice day. Take care. See you around.